right, let's hear how this is going to sound because my voice is a little frigged up this morning. Just a little bit. Yeah, a little bit.
All right.
What's going on?
Weird. Just it happens every once in a while, and I have no fever. I'm actually like 96.9 degrees. I took 2 COVID tests. First of all, I don't feel bad at all. I feel 100%. I feel great. Just my voice is just a little strained this morning, and I did nothing over the weekend that would precipitate this. So
when did that show up?
woke up this morning.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
I felt a little bit of a little tickle when I went to bed last night, and then I woke up and I had this. So we'll see how 4 hours is going to work. I might need to get into the NPR sound occasionally, just kind of keep things down just a little bit.
I kind of like that.
Yeah,
Professor, what are you shaking your head at? You like listening to that garbage.
I know, and I'm so excited because that's a dead ringer for how it sounds. I actually fell asleep on the interstate this morning listening to NPR driving in.
Yeah, there you go.
Take a little nap then when you're on your commute.
That's a ringing endorsement. Fall asleep in your car doing 70 miles an hour while listening to NPR.
I was doing 68. Come on, don't exaggerate. Listen, of all the days to not have your full voice, today's a great one because there's not a lot happening in the world.
Right,
Not a lot of things to talk about.
Really light weekend, not a lot going on. It's just, news operations should have just taken off this weekend. Just taking a break and
everybody a little summer vacation. This would be a great week to have everybody off. I remember thinking on Friday how nothing was going to top Alec Baldwin getting dismissed.
Oh, man.
A lot happened after that.
I'm like, oh man, this is great.
The Alec Baldwin situation, the trial being dismissed, the charges, the case being disposed of by the judge, because of misconduct. Just unfreaking believable. And he's home free now. The case cannot be retried. So Alec Baldwin, that was big until then we heard that Richard Simmons died.
And then after Richard Simmons died, I would go, Monday's show is written. It's done. I know everything we're going to talk about.
Nope, couple more deaths.
Then you had Dr. Ruth Westheimer.
Yeah, the three celebrities.
And then Shannon Doherty.
From 90210.
And then there's a fourth one, James B. Syking.
Oh.
He was the gung-ho SWAT guy from Hill Street Blues, and he also was in Doogie Howser.
Okay.
Yeah, James B. Syking. And then the whole Trump thing is unfreaking believable. An inch difference, and this would be a whole different story. 1 freaking inch.
Unbelievable.
For a bullet from an AR-15 to pierce his right ear and a head turn at a precise moment, a head turn just changed the course of history. Just unbelievable. So Thomas Crooks, a 20-year-old from Bethel Park, Pennsylvania, is the shooter, and he was taken out. But there's so much leading up to this situation. And, we'll discuss this a couple of times during the show. Ultimately, a massive, massive Secret Service failure.
Yeah.
It really was.
How the hell could that guy get on a roof just 130 to 140 yards away? It was just outside the perimeter of where the rally for Trump was being held. But how is a guy with a direct line of sight,
right there,
how is a guy able to get on the roof? And then people spotted him and started yelling, "There's a guy on the roof." And then a local police officer apparently was climbing a ladder to confront him. And then the shooter pointed a gun at the cop, and the cop then went down the ladder. The local cop
Retreated?
did not confront him. Yeah. Apparently he's climbing, and the gun was pointed, so he wasn't able to grab his gun, which, listen, there's going to be a hell of an investigation into what happened. But ultimately, it comes down to the Secret Service. And the Secret Service had a colossal failure because it's their responsibility. And some of the reports have said that they were more intensive in the main venue where Trump was speaking, and they relied more on local law enforcement for outside and the further out perimeter, the further out areas outside of the perimeter. And clearly there was a colossal failure. I mean, the Secret Service, they should have had snipers. They should have had their teams on every single rooftop anywhere within line of sight of where Trump was speaking. And this would be the case for any presidential candidate. If let's say Biden were speaking there, what difference would the security have looked like? Anyone of that stature should have had much better protection, and that should have never ever happened.
Wow.
It's truly dramatic for Trump to get hit in the ear, and another inch would have been life or death. I mean, and then you have an innocent man, a father of two girls.
I know.
A 50-year-old former fire chief, a volunteer fire chief, 50 years old. And he was killed. Corey Comparatori. I've heard like 9 different pronunciations. It's not an easy name. Corey Comparatori, 50 years old. And he was shot. And he's being described as a hero for jumping on top of his wife and kids.
He shielded his family.
Yeah, shielded his
Absolutely.
family, and he took a hit. And then 2 others were also hit, and they're hospitalized.
Both of them are in stable condition.
Yeah, that's what the latest was. Stable condition. 57-year-old guy, David Dutch, and 74-year-old James Copenhaver. So what an insane weekend. I mean, I can't imagine if Trump were actually killed.
Yeah.
What would have happened? I mean, who the hell knows?
Right.
But
convention starts today.
Yeah. So, and then on the eve of the convention, the Republican National Convention starts up in Milwaukee, and then the Democrat convention, that's going to be later on, the Democratic convention. So what a day we have. And then for my voice to be all raggy this morning, it kind of sucks, but I'll get through it. I brought in a gigantic jar of honey.
Oh, good.
And I'm going to keep the hot water and tea bags. I'm going to be tea bagged all morning long.
There you go. That'll make you feel better.
See, it'll be a great morning after all.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right, 6:09, just getting rolling. Traffic's on with Pat, MJ Morning Show. Back in a minute.
Watch for a crash northbound 41 at...
It is 6:21 at the MJ Morning Show. MJ with Fester and Roxanne. And there is only one piece of audio that I pulled from the Trump incident over the weekend. Only one piece, and it is probably not what you're thinking. All right? So we'll get into that later on. If I don't sound, normally like what I should sound like today, you're right. Listen, I feel fine. I am not sick. Just my voice this morning. Just woke up. And I guess maybe just a little bit of a drip on the vocal cords. So I brought in this giant jar of honey, and I also popped a couple of prednisone this morning. So, that'll generally, tamp down some inflammation. Actually, I'm starting to sound a little better.
Yeah, you're going to work it out.
Yeah.
So hopefully I'll work it out. And I popped about 20, 30 prednisone pills.
Oh.
So, no, I'm kidding. I'm joking. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking.
You're going to start bloating up pretty quickly now.
Hey, do you remember you went to, I think, 7-Eleven, you bought those, the one chip challenge chips? Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah, it was a couple years ago. I forgot the name of the company that did it, but it was one chip that was super crazy spicy.
Yeah, it was like
Pacaya. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, what is it? Taki?
Yeah, it was a Taki brand.
Taki.
No, Pocky.
Pocky.
Paqui, right? Well, there's an update on this. We all took the challenge. Well, actually, I don't think I did because
you didn't.
I've got minions that do that stuff.
We all looked at. I don't
Look
think
at you.
I don't think it could have made.
I thought you said mini people to do that. And I was
No.
like, but you're mini too.
No, I have minions, is what I said.
I don't think it could have made your voice sound any
Roxanne
worse.
getting the early dig in.
It's all right.
Yeah.
So the only person in the room, MJ,
Yeah.
to actually try any portion of the chip at all was Roxanne.
As I recall, it was just me.
Wait
Yeah.
a minute. Fester,
I guess
you
I was
didn't-
your minion.
You or Froggy didn't take the chip challenge?
We opted a hard pass,
Oh, really?
and Roxanne, before there was a big confrontation.
You know what?
between us-
I hate that expression. Hard pass.
Well, that's what we opted for.
hard pass.
That's the correct word for
Hey,
what we did.
You want to try this appetizer?
Oh, no.
It's squid eyeballs.
Well, that's a hard pass.
Yeah, with frog crotch. Would you like to try this? It's on like a piece of Melba toast. Would you like to? No, hard pass.
Hard pass
Hard
on
pass.
that.
Hard pass.
So we passed, and Roxanne said, just volunteered. I'll try it.
All right.
With
So
no
Yeah,
extra.
because usually I like spicy food. But
there is an update this morning that I saw over the weekend that the family of the kid that died, remember there was a story, and they've been since pulled off the market. And now a lawsuit was filed late last week up in Massachusetts. And this involves the Massachusetts teen who died after he ate the spicy chip, the one chip challenge, Harris Woolabah. It's Wolobah. I mean, I don't know. How else would you pronounce that?
Woolabah.
Woolabah.
Wallaba.
A 10th grader from Worcester, Massachusetts. He died last September. It was September 1st of last year, so not quite a year ago. And he was taking the challenge, the Pocky chip, one chip challenge. And an autopsy found that he died after eating a large quantity of chili pepper extract, but he also had a congenital heart defect as well. And he died of cardiopulmonary arrest after eating the chip. So did the chip cause it, or was it a contributory factor? Anyway, the family is now suing. So we'll see this actually goes. Pocky, P-A-Q-U-I, is a Texas-based subsidiary of Hershey. So Hershey is the parent company of the chip. So certainly there are some deep pockets to go after in any lawsuit. But is the chip company or Hershey's, are they liable? I mean, there are all kinds of warnings all over the packaging. I remember when we did the challenge in here.
Yeah, there was several layers of warning.
Yeah.
From the box to the bag that the chip was in.
And, the spooky thing is that this Pocky chip sold for about $10 a piece, and it came in foil in a coffin-shaped box.
Ooh.
Yeah, containing the warning that it was intended for the vengeful pleasure of intense heat and pain. And the warning noted that the chip was for adult consumption only, and it was not to be consumed by children. Now, this kid that passed was a 10th grader, so that would put him at, 15 or 16?
Yep.
When I was in 10th grade, I was 16. I turned 16, I believe, in the middle of 10th grade.
That's about right, yeah.
Whatever. So, a tragedy, but I don't know if technically the chip company is guilty for, what happened to this kid. It's just, a terrible, terrible story.
Because of his age and because of the warnings on it.
Does this just get settled and go away?
Maybe.
I mean,
maybe. It depends. Well, they took the chip off the market. The chip is gone. So.
Well, speaking as the person who has tasted the chip, that was probably a good idea.
But wait a second.
What?
You bit off a corner.
I was just going to say.
You bit off like.
I ate the tiniest
just
amount.
You just had the tip.
I just had the tip, the corner of it, and I had no desire. Even after I put just a little bit in my mouth, I was like, "Yeah, this is too hot." I love hot food. I love spicy food, and I love a good challenge. So I was like, "I'll try it." But it was my survival instincts kicked in, and after just that little corner, I was like, oh, "I'm good. I'm out."
Fester, have you ever heard of Will Dolt? I'm sorry, Steve Will Dolt.
Steve Will Dolt.
Yeah. Which I don't think is his real name. Yeah, this is ridiculous. This is totally.
I don't know who Steve Will Dolt is.
Why don't you look it up?
Okay.
Steve. And it looks like it's all together. It looks like it's all one word.
Steve Will Do It?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Steve Will Do It. You're talking about the...
Hang on a minute. Andrew's correcting me. It's Steve Will Do It. See, I'm sorry, folks. I don't follow internet and YouTube media celebrities.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't follow Mr. Beast.
You should. If there's anybody you should follow.
I do know how to pronounce that one, though. I do know how to say Mr. Beast. I know how to do that. So, Steve Will
Do It.
You know what? The way the headline is, that it looks like Dolt, but
Okay.
it's a capital I, which looks like an L.
I've seen this guy on Instagram before.
Right,
he has like almost 4 million, like 3.7 million followers.
All right, so you know who he is.
I know of him. I don't know him well.
All right, so correction. It's Steve Will Do It. But you know what? Maybe I wasn't far off with Steve Will Dolt. The reason why I'm bringing this up, and he was kicked out of Universal Orlando. He was given a trespass warning. He was doing, I guess, some kind of internet content, some kind of YouTube content in Orlando's Universal.
Yeah.
He was kicked out, and then they found him back in the park wearing the most ridiculous Mario Brothers fake mustache you've ever seen. Look at this. I'm holding it up to MJTV.
Good for him.
Look at this. I mean, the most ridiculous thing. YouTube star Steve Will Do It arrested at Universal Orlando, and there's this fake mustache mugshot that is ridiculous.
Oh, man. That's a great mugshot.
Yeah. Internet personality Steve Will Do It went to Universal Orlando, ended up in jail. Yeah, his real name is Stephen Rocco Delionardis, or Delionardis, and he was arrested last week by Orlando police. Yeah, for trespassing at Universal Orlando.
Hey, good for him.
Yeah.
Creating that content.
Yeah, Orlando police told TMZ that officers responded to Universal in reference to a trespass call. Cops say theme park security told them that Steve was previously removed from the park for trespassing last August and warned, don't come back. Do not come back to our park.
That's funny.
And then he goes back to the park, and he's wearing a ridiculous fake mustache.
Oh, man. There's a video I'm looking right now of him in the Universal, front area, not in the park, but still on the grounds, in a Superman costume. and he says he's giving $10,000 to the first Mexican person he sees.
What?
That's the content.
Wow.
And then he sees a Mexican family, and he's handing him a wad of cash.
Holy crap.
All of this for just, clicks and views
Yeah, that's it.
and likes.
Hey, listen, look what Mr. Beast is giving away.
But this is, what they do.
This is like cheap Mr. Beast. Wannabe Mr. Beast. Anyway, so the arresting officer verified that it was this guy, and he was previously trespassed at Universal, and then arrested him on a misdemeanor charge of trespassing.
I'm going to have to give this guy a follow.
Yeah. A rep for Steve told TMZ that he was originally banned for filming content for his social media pages. Yeah, duh. And he was bringing camera crews with him to film inside the park. And Universal told him to stop. He later snuck a camera in 2 more times. And that's what led to him being banned and trespassed from Universal. And then he goes back. Last week, he's arrested with the most ridiculous fake. Again, it's like a Mario Brothers mustache, just like glued on. So
this is the best thing to happen to these guys who are content creators who want to do this kind of thing.
To get like arrested for nonviolent stuff.
Sure.
Yeah.
This is great for them.
Yeah. All right, 6:32 at the MJ Morning Show. Early morons in the news next. Yeah, I got a great pile of morons in minutes here on the MJ Morning Show on Q105. It is... is 6:40 MJ Morning Show. And it is time for some early morons in the news. MJ, Roxanne, Fester, Andrew, the producer, and a pretty solid pile of morons this morning. Now, this is something from last week that I did not get around to, and I love when a morons in the news story has some audio accompaniment, and we have it in this case. There is a woman that was wearing a Scarface t-shirt that bit a chunk of a flight attendant's uniform off during a dispute on a United Airlines flight. Yeah, there's a lot going on there.
Wow. Wow.
Lot going on there.
Yeah, really.
This happened on a United Airlines flight, and the passenger chomped a piece of the uniform off. This was a flight from Miami to Newark last week, and the passenger was wearing a Scarface, an Al Pacino Scarface t-shirt. I'm like, what the hell? And several flight attendants grabbed the guy Grab the woman,
The
rather.
woman, it's a woman.
The woman, rather. I said so. Several flight attendants grabbed the woman wearing the Scarface T-shirt. This was on United Flight 762, Miami to Newark, and the woman was like thrashing her head around, and then finally dipped her head into the shoulder of the flight attendant and ripped part of the flight attendant's uniform off with their teeth.
Wow.
Look at that. You see it?
Yeah.
You
It's
see
like
it?
a pit bull grip.
The flight attendant was a male flight attendant. And then you can see that the male then grabs the woman, another male flight attendant with a female flight attendant. So 3 flight attendants were grabbing this passenger, a woman, and she's wearing a Scarface T-shirt. Let's say hello to my little friend.
Yeah, my little friend's going to
Yeah.
bite your shoulder off.
Yeah, exactly. Here's some of the audio of the melee. Now, I don't actually have on this video what would be like, we don't have a rip, but we have some audio from the actual melee and what it sounded like on board the airplane. I mean, this is like, this is crazy stuff. That what's happening on these flights these days, it's just insane. All right, here's the audio.
Oh. She's wildin'. Nah. She's wildin'.
People are recording me. Don't come to this airline. Don't come on United Airlines. These people have an attitude problem. They don't do their job. They're handcuffing me. Why are you handcuffing me? Why, bitch? Why? Why the you handcuffing me?
I mean, do you hear why are you handcuffing me, bitch?
We heard it.
Yeah, the flight attendants, even before law enforcement got there, remember I said there were 3 flight attendants trying to restrain this woman. There were 2 men and a female, and they were able to get those plastic white nylon, like the riot handcuffs that the cops have for mass arrests.
Yeah.
All those are on airplanes. There's a whole kit of stuff. It's like there's a bad passenger kit.
Yeah, in case of emergency, bad passenger, break here.
I think there's a roll of duct tape, too, to duct tape people's heads to the seat if they have to.
We've seen that before.
Oh, yeah.
We've seen that before. I feel so bad for flight attendants, some of the stuff they have to put up with.
Oh, yeah.
I feel bad for myself. None of this happens on flights that I'm on. The flights that I go on, everybody just sits down.
Yeah,
They're
you know
quiet.
what? That's a good thing, Fester.
I would love to have a woman wilding.
Oh. So
what the guy say? She's wilding?
Yeah, you'd like
wilding?
What
She's wilding.
What the hell are you saying?
You didn't hear that guy?
The clip you just played.
Oh no, violent. I thought he said violent.
I thought she said she's wilding.
She's
and I was
wilding out.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Okay, hold on. We need a clarification here.
Yeah, I thought it was violent. All right, let's listen again. Here we go.
Oh. She's wildin'.
She's violent.
No, I think he said she's wildin', and I just found that wildin' means to be acting crazy.
I heard a V, not a W.
I heard a W.
Hang on a minute.
Look.
Oh. She's wildin'.
Yes. According to the official dictionary that I use for all things.
I'm hearing a V,
No,
not a
but
W.
He's saying acting up, causing trouble, doing something you should not be doing.
Wildin'. Wild I-N.
But I'm not hearing that. I'm hearing a V, not a W. Hang on.
Oh. She's wildin'.
Oh,
She's
close.
wildin'.
You know what?
No,
play the whole clip. He says it twice.
Yeah,
Play the
okay.
whole,
Here we go.
Yep.
Oh. She's wildin'. Nah. She's wildin'.
Okay,
I
he
heard
says-
a V.
No.
I heard a V.
But I don't think that's what I like put it in context. I feel like he would be like, she's wildin'. And wildin' means acting up, causing trouble, doing something you should not be
we know,
doing.
but I'm
And-
hearing a V, not a W.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
the I don't just see him going, she's violent.
Listen,
The male flight attendant's going to have to put in a request for a new shirt because the part of the shirt was ripped off. The shoulder patch was ripped off. Just insanity.
does the company cover that? You know, some places you have to buy your own uniforms. Well, that's not the.
Yeah, I think that the airlines, I thought that the flight attendants' uniforms are provided for them.
What's that called? The little fabric part on flight attendant's
Like it's
shoulder.
like the shoulder.
Epaulette? Is that
Yeah,
is that right? I don't know.
Why don't you look that up?
She got a nice bite out of it though.
Yeah.
Nothing like this happens on flights that I'm on. So disappointed. I'd pay extra.
Again, there is no reason that you'd want your flight delayed. So you want an incident on your flight so it can be delayed potentially hours? What the hell's the matter with you?
I mean, if she's wilding,
Oh,
if I
no,
have
no.
a good seat.
What the hell is wrong with you? Why would you want to be on a flight?
Yes, what the hell is wrong with you? Yes, yes. What's
No,
wrong with
it's
you,
like this.
mister?
Because it
Yeah,
voice.
all right,
Deep,
so
horsey voice.
You want your flight to be
Yes.
delayed.
If I could have a show like this,
Maybe potentially miss your connecting flight. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking to get on an airliner and have an incident on board so it screws up my trip.
how boring is it just to
All
land on time?
Okay.
Give me a show.
All right. Well, Fester, you hope and wish for that on your flights. I don't want any delays on my flights.
All right, sarcasm's going over like a lead balloon today, people.
Yes.
All right, back to straight morning show after the break.
No, you sounded like you were serious.
That's the beauty of sarcasm.
Oh, jeez.
That's the beauty of all of it. That's how you sell the sarcasm, man.
You stop
Come
it.
on.
You stop
It's not my first day.
You stop it. All right, remember that? Remember the sicko story we had at the Dollar Tree up in Pennsylvania?
From Friday. From
Friday
last week.
show, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, late last week, I think it was Friday show, there was a guy that did something on the leg of a woman shopping in the aisle at a Dollar Tree in Philadelphia. And the guy did his thing on her leg and then ran out. And then she's videoing as she's running out of the store, and you can see the guy running away. And she's like, he bleeped on my leg, and you started cursing at the guy.
Yeah.
Now, guess what? We have an update.
Did they catch him?
He's turned himself in.
Turned himself in.
Yeah, but sicko accused of performing disgusting act on a Philly Dollar Tree store employee turned himself in after a $2,000 reward was offered. Yeah, a 35-year-old man who was accused of on a female Dollar Tree employee's leg. Yeah, a rapper, a Philadelphia rapper by the name of Meek Mill, ordered people track him down and offered a $2,000 reward.
All right, Meek Mill's like a big deal.
Yeah, I know.
in the rap world.
I know.
Okay.
I know. I've heard the name before. I'm sorry, but I'm not a rap expert over here.
We'll give you a pass on this one.
Well, thank you very much. Yeah.
But yeah, so I've heard of Meek Mill before. Don't ask me to name any of his work, although I'm
Yeah.
sure he's talented.
The
Yeah,
sus-
I've heard of that too.
The suspect is Gary Miles, and he was seen fleeing the store back in late June, and he has turned himself in.
Wow.
And I guess it was all because of Meek Mill, the rapper, offering up a $2,000 reward for anyone offering up the guy's identity. And listen, the video is pretty clear of him running away. Someone's going to be able to identify the guy with or without a reward. And I guess he figured I better just turn myself in because I'm done for.
What an interesting case for Meek Mill to get involved
Yeah.
with. You know, a lot of times you see they post rewards for information, but this incident, okay, thanks, Meek.
Yeah. And then the employee at Dollar Tree, the female, she's like, he just bleeped on my leg. I don't want to say what she said. But, you know, sometimes you feel like a nut, sometimes you don't. But that's
Yeah,
that's a whole
this guy
different- yeah.
did.
What a freaking story. All right, 6:52 at the MJ Morning Show. I still have a good pile of morons which will scatter during the course of the show. There's just, for whatever reason, this weekend was just whacked. With all the celebrities that passed away, the Trump assassination attempt, what a whacked weekend. And the morons in the news stories are not short this weekend either. So we'll get into some more of that coming up in just a bit. 6:52 at the MJ Morning Show. If my voice sounds a little rough this morning, it is. I'm not sick. I have no fever. I did test twice for COVID, which I probably didn't need to, but I'm paranoid that way. And I'm not sick. Just my voice. I woke up this morning and my voice was all, and I don't have a sore throat at all. My throat is fine. It's just my vocal cords must be a little inflamed. All right, so 7 o'clock hour here on the MJ Morning Show starts in just a few minutes, including an hour and 20 minutes of nonstop MJ. Let's talk about... I deliberately picked this little rejoiner because they said holiday, and it's another holiday. And I have some details regarding your next holiday or vacation coming up in just a bit. 7:01 at the MJ Morning Show, almost 7:02. Fester, you just got a text on your private phone line?
Yes,
Yeah.
I did, and it's concerning you.
Yes.
And it says, did MJ start smoking this morning? He sounds like crap.
And who sent this to me? Is it a phone number you recognize? Is it a phone number that's in your address book, or is it just some rando?
It's a rando.
Yeah.
I get them all.
Yeah, well.
It was a 914 area code. Is that Boston?
No, 914 is Westchester County. Yeah.
Yeah, a New York number.
Yeah. It used to be my area code when I was a kid in Rockland County across the river, across the Hudson, but they changed the Rockland area code. But I used to be a 914.
Yeah, 914. MJ starts smoking this morning. He sounds like crap. So, the texter is very observant.
Yes, I started smoking Camel Unfiltereds. Yes, I blew through a pack and a half of Camel Unfiltereds this morning. No, I'm not sick. I mean, I've got no temperature, I have no fever. I feel fine. Just my vocal cords. That's it. Just clearly inflamed vocal cords, probably some kind of a post-nasal drip or something that just was, tagging my vocal cords while I was sleeping. And I woke up. I popped a couple of, I'm actually better than I was. Believe it or not, my voice is better than when I first woke up this morning. I was in the shower this morning, and I was like, my God. I was like talking to myself in the shower because I knew I was, I knew I was in trouble. And if you would have heard me at like 4:30 in the shower this morning, it'd be like, oh, my God, he can't make it.
Oh, I'm sorry. He just texted back.
Yes.
It is Justin from Nanuet.
Really?
Yes, and that's the 914. I want to know if you started smoking. Did you take a steamy shower this morning?
No,
You kind of break up-
I took an Arctic ice chill shower. Of course I took a steamy
asking.
shower.
Listen, we're talking about
Yes,
it. I don't know, okay?
yes, I took a steamy shower, yes.
I don't take
yes,
obvious things for granted all the time with you.
Hi, it's MJ for Camel Cigarettes.
You would have made so much money back in the day.
If it wasn't quite so croaky, it would sound really good. Like the lower octave, I kind of like I could picture you doing NFL Films work, like Harry Callis, the frozen tundra, and doing,
Yeah.
those football, right?
Yeah,
You'd be
some
good
real
at that.
gravelly.
The frozen tundra.
Right.
Like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can do movie trailers now.
That deep low
Yeah.
end voice work, that could be you, man.
In a world.
Much better.
In a world.
Yeah, it has a fit.
In a world. Hey, speaking of movies, we went to see Long Legs. I'll get into that in the long segment. It just kind of, long segment, Long Legs. Michelle and I went to the movies for the first time in a year. The last time we were in the theater literally was last July for Oppenheimer. So it's been 1 year since we've been in the movies. And not that we don't watch a lot of movies, we do. We watch a lot of movies, just do it at home. And stuff is available to stream fairly quickly. And I like the home theater environment and just hanging out at the house, opening up a bottle of wine, not dealing with someone kicking my seat or coughing on me or, texting during the whole damn movie or, getting shot at the movie theaters or whatever,
Oh,
Well, that was the situation up at the Grove,
It happens.
some years ago.
Yeah, that was a situation,
Yeah.
all right.
All right, so to the Justin, no, I did not start smoking unfiltered Camels over the weekend. Hopefully my voice will be back to normal tomorrow morning. I will continue to pop some prednisone to try to reduce inflammation. I don't think it's worth a trip to the ENT
Okay, hold on.
just yet.
We are
What?
getting more listener medical feedback.
Yeah,
An
yeah.
813 number here.
Yeah,
Please-
that'd be Tampa Bay,
is it?
813. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
I don't
yeah,
have their
yeah.
name, but here
Yeah.
we go. Please tell MJ that allergies and sinus drippage can cause his voice to sound like that.
Yeah, well, I really don't have allergies. When you get ill or if some ailment kicks in, it's like, what really is the root cause? I mean, you don't always know. If you get a sore throat and you get sick and it turns out that your kids are sick, they came home from school and they're dripping, they got all kinds of stuff coming out. Or if you have somebody that you work with next to you at work and they've been sick and then you come down with something, then you know how you got it. Whatever happened to me overnight, I have no idea what precipitated this. But I'll tell you, it is getting better. My voice, believe it or not, is sounding a little better. And if you ever want to get a hold of Fester, folks, Fester's private cell number is 813-310-8444. Hey, how did that ever happen? How
Because Froggy would give out his number.
yeah, but
it started with this.
what was we know that Froggy gave out his number. That's a given. But what was the genesis of that?
It starts because of you and a habit that you have that is really jerkish.
A habit that I have that's jerkish?
Yeah. When you
So it started with me. I precipitated it?
yes, when you dial
How?
somebody's number,
Yeah.
and you could tell how close this person is to you by how far you go with this. When you
Okay.
dial somebody's number, you always say the area code.
Uh-huh.
All right, let's dial up Fester. 813, bump, bump, bump. And then you might give out the first 1 or 2 digits of their number.
Right.
You won't play that game if you dial Michelle. You won't play that game if you dial Dennis Phillips. But when you dial me, you went 813. Then you said, 310. And then Froggy just mumbled 8444.
That was the first time that your number was given out on the air?
I was like, Froggy, what'd you do? And then he looks at me. I'm like, what'd you do? And then listeners put it together. And then Froggy said, no, did I give out 813-310-8444?
And then the cat was out of the bag.
And then there's no reeling it back in. And at the end of the day, I don't care about my phone. It really is just a communication device. And if I can help a listener in some capacity to get some information, I don't even care. I don't care. Text me, I don't care. I delete them all anyway. But it came in handy over the weekend.
Hold on, you said you delete them all anyway?
Well, after I read them, I delete most of them.
But you do read what listeners send you.
Yeah, I delete them. I reply back to most of them, not all of them.
How many calls do you get? How many people just call you on your number and just say, hey, Fester, just want to see if you're having a good weekend, and
So
hey,
I don't,
Fester, just checking in.
I don't pick up calls.
I just want to hear your voice. Oh, you don't pick up?
Unless you are saved in my phone book.
Okay.
And I constantly add to my phone book.
Right.
So, but unless you're in my phone book, I don't answer the call.
Oh.
I don't care who. I don't care what it is. I don't care.
But you do read all texts.
Yeah, I get them pretty regularly. I tell you, I got 50 texts.
Oh, with the Trump deal?
No.
Oh, what?
Richard Simmons.
Hold on. You got more texts on Richard Simmons dying than the Trump shooting?
Well, in order, it was Baldwin texts.
Yep.
Alec Baldwin. Alec.
Yeah, by the way, we'll do the long segment next. We've got an hour and 20 minutes of nonstop MJ starting at about 7:25, and we got the Trump deal covered. I mean, what an insane situation up in Pennsylvania on Saturday evening. Then Alec Baldwin, the whole case thrown out, prosecutorial misconduct. I mean, insane ending to the manslaughter case involving Alec Baldwin.
So it went from Alec to Richard to Donald with little smatterings of Dr. Ruth and Shannon Doherty.
Yeah.
So all the news that happens, I really don't need to check news sites over the weekend because our listeners are so loyal and know what we talk about. They send me the stuff before I even get a chance to look at it.
Anytime you want to get a hold of Fester, 813-310-8444. Anytime you want to get a hold of me, my private email is MJ. Did you just snort?
Oh, my God. People are sending me edited photos that they've made of you on MJTV of you smoking.
Oh, God.
Look at this. Look at this photo. Oh, my
That's
God.
awesome.
Is that a bong? Is that a bong? People have too much time on your hands.
Somebody grabbed the freeze frame of me, and I'm blowing smoke out of my hole.
People have too much time on their hands.
Oh,
look at this.
God.
Look at this photo.
Jeez.
Come on, man.
All right, so you can get a hold of me. I'm MJ at MJMorningshow.com. That's MJ at MJMorningshow.com. Or my DMs are open on Instagram. And that's Certified MJ Radio. Give me a follow on Instagram, Certified MJ Radio. All right, so I mentioned like travel and holidays. A couple of things. Mystery travel. Does this interest any of you guys where you don't know where you're going until the last minute?
I have no desire to do that because half the fun is like planning, figuring out what you're going to wear, being prepared mentally, and like daydreaming about your vacation in advance.
I was reading over the weekend about mystery travels heating up. This is not new. I've heard of this where you don't know where you're going until the last minute. And there are some like companies that do this. They plan your whole trip and you really don't know where you're going until you're about to get on the flight.
That could be a cool idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a vacation once, a trip once with my wife. I didn't tell her anything about it. I just told her to pack for 3 days, and it was a car trip. And she hated it because she didn't know anything about it. She didn't know how to dress. She didn't know what to do. But it turned out to be a nice trip.
Yeah, one of the latest trends, and again, this is not new. I've heard about this for years, but I guess it's getting more popular, is mystery travel, and the customer, the traveler, has no idea where they're going until the last possible moment. So instead of you planning your vacation, your adventure, Roxanne, you outsource it to a travel agent, or there are companies that specialize in mystery travel, and they'll book the flight, the hotel. You got to give them all the requisite information. If your TSA pre-check and all your your legal information. They book everything: flights, hotels, restaurant reservations, and you don't know where you're going until you get to the airport. and you check in.
So do they give you, I guess you probably build a profile with them and tell them your likes and dislikes so they can give you a vacation you want.
No, they send you the biggest hellhole that you have no desire to go
right?
to.
Like, so if you hate getting a sunburn,
Yeah.
then they're going to send you to the Bahamas.
We're sending you to Siberia.
In the continental United States, what would be a bad trip?
Oh,
Like I've never been to New Mexico.
Gary, Indiana.
Okay, yeah, that might be a rough one. Yeah, you're right.
Bismarck, North Dakota.
Okay,
Camden, New Jersey.
you guys are coming up with a really good list.
Pretty much any city in Arkansas.
I mean,
Oh,
Little
I
Rock
wouldn't
isn't
say
nice.
that.
It's
No,
the one
no, no, no.
I shouldn't say that. It's the one state I have not been to, but so I can't speak on Arkansas.
You've been to Alaska?
Yep.
You've been to Hawaii?
I said it's one of the states I haven't been to.
Oh, yeah,
so there are
you-
I thought
five.
you said
no,
the
Five.
one state.
No, you said the one
Oh, did
state I haven't been
okay,
to.
well,
I thought
you
you
just
said
caught
that.
me.
No, well, we're just trying to clarify.
There are five I have not been to.
Well, now I got to know all five.
Hawaii, Arkansas, Maine, which that's at the top. Well, Maine and Hawaii are at the top of my list, and then two out west, Wyoming,
Yep.
which is on the list, and what's near Wyoming because those two.
Idaho.
Colorado,
No,
Montana.
I've been to Cedar Rapids, Idaho, or no, Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
That's
It is.
Iowa,
It
yeah.
is. It is Idaho.
Idaho.
It is Idaho.
Yeah, Boise.
Yeah.
Boise
Well,
is in Idaho.
If you got a 3-day trip to Boise, Idaho, that'd
No,
be
no, don't say Boise. Boise. They're really particular how you say it.
I'm not. I don't care about Idahoans.
What about the Idahoan potatoes?
I care about those.
Yeah, the tater tots and
Yeah,
everything,
good
right?
stuff.
Yeah.
But if you took a 3-day trip to
Or Ida, right? Is that another one?
even
Yeah.
a 3-day trip to which is Oregon and Idaho, by the way, or Ida, if you didn't know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a thing. So a 3-day trip to Wichita, Kansas. I mean, it wouldn't be that bad. It'd be pretty interesting. You can have a good time for 2 days in Wichita.
I've been to every state except North Dakota.
Yeah.
The only state I have not been to is North Dakota. Been
You
to
know-
South, just not North. So,
That sounds kind of fun,
so
actually.
mystery travel, ladies and gentlemen, is heating up, getting more popular. Think about it. You have no idea where you're going until the last moment. Are you willing to give up that type of control? For me, absolutely not. And
Why not?
I'm not really a control freak at all.
Shut up. You can't. You are paralyzed by not knowing where you want to go. What if it was just, hey, show up to the airport. The next 4 days are going to be taken care of. Here's your bill, and let's see what you have.
All
But
right.
you have to know yourself. Some people are complainers by nature. And if someone else books your trip, you're going to bitch about them the entire trip. Like, I can't believe they sent us to this restaurant.
May not be for you.
You have no one to blame but yourself if you book it.
We are going to start an hour and 20 minutes of nonstop MJ next, including the whole Trump situation. And there is only one piece of audio that I pulled, and it's not what you think. I have one piece of audio that I pulled from the Trump incident up in Pennsylvania.
There's a lot of audio out there.
There is.
That's a ton.
And I only picked one piece of audio to play. What is it? That's just a fraction of what's coming up. We've got an hour and 20 minutes of nonstop MJ that's going to start in minutes. I want to welcome a new sponsor to the... 68 here on a Monday morning. I have not been replaced with some guy that sounds like he smokes 4 packs of cigarettes a day. Nah, my vocal cords, my voice just a little raggy this morning. Woke up with this, and I'm gonna power through. Now, if I go a little lower, if I get a little more whispery, then it's not as straining, but it probably sounds a little creepier. You know, if I try to do normal MJ, then I get a little more edgy or raspy kind of sounding. So, hey, I want you guys to do something, and we've got a lot coming up. We'll get into the Trump situation. I mean, what an event! I mean, talk about how history can change in a blink, and Trump survived by an inch. Or less.
Less than that, right?
Yeah. I mean, just unfreaking believable. So we'll get into the Trump matter, the Alec Baldwin matter. Right off the bat here, I have a little exercise for Fester and Roxanne. So right off the bat, guys. Roxanne, what are you doing over there? You look very distracted.
No, I'm listening
right.
with bated breath. No, I was reading an article about what we're about to talk about. Yes, tell me.
What are we about to talk about?
When we get into the Trump stuff, I'm over consuming this. I need to stop.
Yeah, why don't you stop? And I've got the Trump stuff all. I just I want to get in and out. I'm not gonna. I don't want to dwell on it. I just want to get in and out. And I just have a list of things we need to talk about because it's certainly a historic situation. But. And then Alec Baldwin, we got a lot to cover here in our hour and 20 minutes of nonstop MJ. First, though, I want to do a little exercise with you guys. All right, Fester and Roxanne.
Yes.
When I say go, so I'll give you a 3, 2, 1, go. I want both of you guys in unison to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
3, 2, 1, go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, very good.
Okay, that's...
All right, if you guys were up in Massachusetts and you were a kid, you'd get a free ice cream cone.
Oh, awesome.
So there's no ice cream?
No. I mean, you might want to check and see if there's some Bluebell left in the freezer. I brought all the small batch creamery ice cream home.
Oh.
But, sometimes Bluebell comes in because they advertise on a bunch of our stations and they bring ice cream by. Sometimes there's a bunch in the freezer.
So I just did the whole pledge for no ice cream?
Yeah, I'm just saying that if you were up in Massachusetts, there's an ice cream shop called Eskimo King, and kids who can recite the Pledge of Allegiance get a free ice cream cone.
So we just did it for our health.
Yeah.
No, I did it to see if you guys knew the Pledge of Allegiance.
How could we not know that?
Will you give me a hamburger if I know my country 'tis of thee?
You would be surprised if you did like man on the street and you asked people simple things like recite the Pledge of Allegiance. It's amazing how many people could not do it.
You think old Haktua girl knows her pledge?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a man on the street. After the Haktua comment, hey, say the pledge for me. She doesn't know.
I think it's a very fair observation. I bet you for 10 grand she couldn't recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Yeah, I think you got that one nailed. Anyway, I'm very impressed with you guys. Congratulations.
It's not fair to ask.
I'll tell you what, I'll buy you a free cone down at Alfred's place, Small Batch Creamery down on 4th Street.
You're on.
Friend of the MJ Morning Show.
It's not fair for you to ask us, though, MJ, because I don't know if this is still the case in any school, but we went to school in high school where the pledge was said every day. Is that still the case in school? I don't know.
I'm trying to remember. I believe.
I mean,
I know that I did it in elementary school.
But I graduated high school in the early 90s. I mean, I think the times are dramatically different in some capacities. I don't know. Do they still say the pledge?
I'm trying to remember in my junior high, and I know when I went to elementary school in New York, in Nanuet, I know we did the pledge. And also, My Country 'Tis of Thee.
Yeah.
So they did the pledge right into My Country 'Tis of Thee.
Yeah.
That was every morning,
Every
like
morning.
kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth, fifth grade. And then we moved to Virginia Beach, and I think we did it in elementary school. I'm trying to remember whether we did the pledge in junior high and high school.
All right.
I can't remember.
I got to let you in on exactly how terrible a parent I am.
Yeah.
I don't know if either of my kids do it in school. I don't know.
That doesn't make you terrible. You're not there with them.
Just not that good.
Would they be awake right now? Does Hadley have a cell phone?
No, she doesn't. We had to take her cell phone away from her.
When was this?
We had an
Why
incident
didn't you bring this up? All
because
right, folks, hang on. We'll get into the Trump and the Alec Baldwin situation a lot more in just a minute. Also, that Morgan Wallen concert canceled on Friday night.
Right.
Yeah.
That was a big deal. Hang on. I have some alleged intel on Morgan Wallen. So hold on. Like I said, this show is just jammed. All right, what happened with your daughter on the cell phone? Hadley.
so
I mean, cute Hadley,
Yeah.
who was here in the studio a couple of times in the last month.
yeah.
Hello, Mr. MJ.
That's her. What happened?
So she has an Apple phone that has no number associated with it.
What?
She has a phone that's a Wi-Fi connected device that she can use the internet for or watch
Oh,
videos for.
so you
But she
or
doesn't-
Allison gave her an old phone,
She doesn't have a number.
so no service on the phone, but you can connect to Wi-Fi.
She can text people on Apple's network. She can text me. She can text her mother. She
Right.
can text grandma. She can.
Wait, like on WhatsApp?
With her email address, she can send me a
But
text message.
only if she has a Wi-Fi connection.
Right.
Because she's not hooked up to a cell plan.
So who else do we know that she's recently reconnected with after years? Who they just got along swimmingly? And
How the hell would I know?
Chloe.
Oh.
I see her texting someone, and I was like, "Who are you texting?" And she goes, "Chloe." I go, "Chloe who?" She says, "Chloe. Like, what the hell are you texting Chloe for?" I think she sent Chloe like 35 texts. And Chloe responds back to him.
Chloe didn't inform me of this.
Well, if you ask your daughter, she will tell you my daughter's texts abruptly stopped like a week ago.
So why didn't you mention this to me?
Because I didn't want to bring any of this up. Bring none of it up. What's
You okay?
the rule around here? Don't bring it up.
What are you doing? You're doing like rumpa-pum-pum over here.
Don't bring it up. Listen, what's the rule around here? The rule is if you don't want to talk about it, don't tell it to
All
MJ.
right, all right.
That's the rule. I didn't want to talk
Okay,
about it,
all
so I
right.
didn't tell you. I don't care. But my daughter, who had an old iPhone that
So you perceive that she was texting my daughter too much?
too much.
Well, what was she texting on? Because it wasn't regular SMS, because if she doesn't have cell service, it must have been on WhatsApp or something.
No, it was on. You're not an iPhone guy, and I don't really know
like
how to explain
iPhone
it.
Messenger or whatever?
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right, whatever
It would
is.
show up in Chloe's messages,
Yeah.
and Chloe would reply back, and she would know who it's coming from. And the two of them had, innocent conversation. But I don't know that I need my 12-year-old harassing your daughter or vice versa.
Wait.
Nothing crazy's happening, but
When did she get a cell phone? What age?
well,
Well, hey, Chloe, hold on a minute. She doesn't have an actual cell
she
phone.
doesn't have
When
a
did,
number.
when
But
she
did
doesn't
she
have a
start
number.
using
I think
it?
since maybe New Year's, so maybe a couple of months, and she's into this texting thing.
Hey, Chloe.
Hey.
Hey, it's Dad. If it doesn't sound like your dad, it's my throat is kind of messed up this morning. All right, so were you getting a bunch of texts from Fester's daughter, Hadley?
Yeah. Maybe a week ago.
And how many texts would you say you got from her?
Maybe like 20.
And did those texts abruptly stop?
Yeah.
Fester, you want to talk to Chloe?
Yeah, I was furious when I found out she's texting you 20 times, and I took her phone away.
Fester.
Yes. I dropped the hammer of fatherhood on her.
That's not nice.
What's not nice is, she has to learn boundaries of the texts. You don't text somebody, what I perceive to be a lot. Anybody, and I just think, hey, you have to learn how to respect text boundaries. And you were replying back, and I saw the whole conversation. It was very innocent, but I had so no, my kid doesn't have a phone.
So, Chloe, that's why you suddenly stopped hearing from Hadley, because Fester yanked her cell phone away, of which she does not have an actual number. So you guys were texting on just iPhone Messenger?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I guess Hadley could use an email address or something that's associated with
I
her.
gotcha, yeah.
Anyway, I don't know.
All
how
right,
the
so
technology
that's the deal, Chloe.
Okay, thanks.
All
Oh my
right, sweetie.
God.
Yeah,
All right, well,
I mean,
have a good day at work.
I don't-
Goodbye.
I don't know if she needed all that
Okay.
information, but that's why my kid. But no, the kid doesn't have a phone. Why are we even talking about this again? I forgot.
Because we're talking about the Pledge of
Pledge.
Allegiance.
We were
That's
going
right,
to
the
call
pledge.
Hadley and see if she has to say
The
it.
pledge. I don't know that my kids say the pledge in school.
And hang on, the Trump situation, Alec Baldwin, I've got some Morgan Wallen inside information on his concert cancellation. Let me grab line one, though. Andrew says grab a listener. Hi, good morning, MJ Morning Show. Who's this?
Good morning, Angela Napolitano.
Hey, Angela, welcome to the MJ Morning Show.
Good morning. I'm calling from Newport Richie, and I was going to give you a little insight about the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm a media specialist at our local middle school
Right?
that I attended as a kid and my kids attended. And we do say the pledge every morning. We just are not allowed to enforce it, so the kids can just sit there if they choose to.
Gotcha.
Oh.
All right. But the pledge is initiated. Is that individually in the classroom, or is that over the whole PA system in the whole school?
It's over the whole PA system every morning with the morning announcements.
Yeah, that's what it
We do
was.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was in elementary school, that's the way they did it as well. So,
Yes, but we can't force them to stand and say it.
Angela, thanks for the call.
Thank you.
So that's up in Pasco County.
Yeah, that's great. All right.
Morgan Wallen. I'm not a huge country fan. Morgan Wallen is kind of a delinquent, right?
He's gotten in trouble for a couple of things. He's done some things that were not right.
He had that N-word outbreak with an Uber driver, right?
Correct.
And then he threw the chair off of like a 6th floor rooftop bar in Nashville,
A furniture chucker.
and it almost hit police officers down on the ground.
Yeah.
I don't know that he's a delinquent, but he's made a couple of questionable decisions as a young man.
So he cancels the show on Friday night. He did 2 back-to-back shows at Raymond James, and I wasn't going to be there. I'm not a country music fan, but listen, I respect and appreciate any of our listeners that are, or even folks that don't listen to us that like country music. I mean, if that's your thing, if you like Morgan Wallen, with the shows, I don't think the shows were sold out because I know somebody. This is a great story. Very good friend of ours. Their son and a friend were getting ready to buy the Morgan Wallen tickets. They were about to purchase. And I had just heard, right when the news broke that he was canceling, I got hit with a bunch of texts, and a lot of people were saying, hey, Morgan Wallen, because a lot of people I know were going to the show. Either, on the floor, up in the stands, in some of the suites at Raymond James Stadium. So I get, pretty early on, I get the word that the show was canceled. And then Michelle said that the son of a good friend of ours was going to go with a friend, and they were going to snag some last-minute tickets. So Michelle calls our friend. We're in the car driving, and Michelle calls our friend Christine and says, hey, Morgan Wallen was just canceled. Her son was right next to her online and getting ready to hit purchase for the tickets, credit card, everything. To consummate the deal, was just about to click purchase, which would have locked in the tickets with Ticketmaster, because they had a whole bunch of last-minute tickets available, and Michelle was able to stop it with like a second, like MacGyver, disarming the bomb with like a .25 on the clock. Less like a quarter of a second left, and Michelle calls our friend Christine and says, hey, Morgan Wallen's been canceled, and Christine says, don't click on it, and yells to her son because, he'll be back up at school because they're rescheduling for, I think,
October
4th.
Yeah, October. What day is that? October 4th.
Let me double check, yeah.
What day is October 4th? So I don't know if he was going to be, he's away at college. So October 4th is what? This year. All right, it's a Friday, so I don't know if he could come home, but, it's better to have the option to buy those tickets later.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure more seats will be available, but we stopped the purchase with a second to spare. And then the other little inside information that I heard, and I have this from a pretty good source. I was told, and maybe someone can confirm this or deny it, if anyone knows. Is this the potential cause for why Morgan Wallen canceled his Friday night show at Ray J?
And this is an MJ Inside
Yes.
information exclusive.
This is an MJ Insider tip of the day. All right. I was told that Morgan Wallen was spotted at Mons Venus after his Thursday show. So he did Thursday night and was supposed to do Friday night. The Thursday concert went forward, and I was told that he was at Mons Venus after the concert.
Why would that keep him from performing on Friday?
Maybe he got some kind of bug from a stripper getting a lap dance or something. I don't know.
Does it kick in that fast?
I mean, look at
I don't know.
who knows? So I saw that he wasn't feeling 100% before
Well,
Thursday night
that's
show.
what he said.
Right.
That's his claim.
But
Yeah.
even if he wasn't feeling great before Thursday night, but he fires it up and then goes all night long doing whatever he does, it's possible he really felt like crap on
Yeah.
Friday.
Ran himself down. So
yeah, he could have thought he was past it Thursday night. Oh, I got through that. I didn't feel good, but I got through it. And then let's go party. And whoop, even worse.
if anyone can confirm or deny that Morgan Wallen was at Mons Venus after his Thursday night show, give me a call. Because I got it from a pretty good source that he did go after the concert. So did that contribute a late night out at Mons? I don't know if he crossed the street to 2001 as well. But if anyone has any intel, any confirmation of that, love to hear from you. 800-990-1047. 800-990-1047. If you have any information about country star Morgan Wallen hanging at Mons Venus after his Thursday show, was that a contributing factor to his cancellation of his show on Friday night? If anyone has any insight, 800-990-1047. 800-990-1047. I'll give it a second. If anyone has any, phones are ringing. So let me see what Andrew can dig up here.
Who's going to deny the claim? Well, I was there all night at the Mons. Yep, Morgan didn't come in.
And then Jelly Roll, who was supposed to open up for Morgan Wallen, did on Thursday night. Jelly Roll then put out a tweet, an X, whatever they call it these days. And he said that, first he said, Tampa, I'm trying to do a show for you tonight. Somewhere, stand by. And then it was revealed that he was going to show up at the Dallas Bowl. Man,
Awesome.
they must have been thrilled with that frickin' windfall, huh? And the deal was that if you had a ticket to the show on Friday night, that you could get in free to Dallas Bowl, where Jelly Roll put together a quick impromptu show. And I don't know, that's a big venue. I don't know how many they can get in there, but certainly it's not the 60,000 people that can get into radio, you know?
It's a kind of like a warehouse club, and they can jam a lot of people in there, but yeah, it's maybe a couple of thousand.
So I wonder if they had to turn people away.
Of course.
If I'm sure it got jammed to the point where they probably had to turn people away. So, all right, Andrew's got some calls on hold here. Let me go to phones. Andrew, who am I taking here? I see calls on hold. Could I take line 3? Hi, good morning, MJ Morning Show. Who's this?
Good morning. This is Bob Jameson.
Hey, Bob, can you give me some information? Can you confirm or deny?
Well, what I can confirm is that I was told by a reliable source that the concert was Friday night and Saturday night.
No, the concert.
no.
No, well,
Knock that source out of the picture.
So far, your source is very unreliable.
yeah. The concert was Thursday and Friday, pal.
Well, then Jelly Roll. Well,
What?
okay, Jelly Roll did a concert at Dallas Bowl on a Saturday night.
No, that was Friday night.
Okay.
You have no
Okay,
idea,
what's today, sir?
You have no idea what you're talking about.
What day is
All right,
today?
Hang on.
He's gone.
Hang on a minute. Let me grab Anonymous on line 7. Hi, good morning, MJ Morning Show. Hello. Oh, jeez.
good.
Turn your radio all the way down.
It'll be like 10 seconds
Oh,
for the
my
guy will answer the
God.
phone.
All right.
5,
Oh, jeez.
4.
Hello. You're on delay. Hello. Turn your radio down.
Oh, God.
Andrew, tell callers turn the radio down. geez.
All right, this is why we have people call.
I
Turn the radio
know.
down.
Hello? Hello?
Now we're talking to the guy.
Geez. Hello?
All right, so it looks like this guy wants to say that he saw him at Denny's, which is right there next to the Mons Venus at the corner of
two
Dale
great,
Mabry.
2 award-winning calls right there.
You know, hold on. You weren't exactly looking for like civic leaders to call in on that segment, okay?
I think these people are just getting home from the Mons right now.
You're asking who can confirm he was at a strip club at 2 a.m. That's what you're going to get, pal.
All right, let's move on to the Trump matter.
Was he at the Mons on Tuesday? That'd be crazy.
Wow.
Wow.
I mean, all I can say is wow. Trump is alive with less than an inch to spare. If he did not turn his head at that moment, he probably would have taken a bullet, a 5.56, an AR-15 round, right in the head. And we would be talking about a whole separate story here. This is unbelievable. There is one piece of audio. There's tons of video and audio, obviously. There is only one piece of audio that I chose to pull because you've probably heard it all. I don't need to play the gunshots. That's all over the place. There's one piece of audio that I chose to pull regarding the Trump incident, and I'll get to that in a second. So at 6:11 p.m. and 30 seconds, 6:11 and 30 seconds Eastern Time, up in Pennsylvania, on Saturday night, this maniac, a 20-year-old by the name of Thomas Crooks, and again, all the news media, it's Thomas Matthew Crooks. Why do we have to use the middle name of all these, serial killers? And that annoys me. It's Thomas Crooks, 20 years old, of Bethel Park, Pennsylvania. Fired at least 6 rounds from about 140 yards away from a rooftop of like a manufacturing company. There's like one of those metal-style buildings.
Yeah.
And he's on the roof of this thing. And it is just outside the perimeter of the venue where the Trump rally was being held. And I can't believe that area was left unpatrolled. I can't believe that there were not law enforcement officers on the roof of any building nearby with line of sight. I mean, we're talking about a colossal security failure. I'll get into that in a second. I want to spend a few minutes here because this is a massive elephant, folks. We don't do a lot of politics on the show. In fact,
this is beyond politics.
It is.
Yeah, it really
of
is.
Course. Absolutely.
This is a former president.
Folks, if you notice, I don't do politics on the MJ Morning Show, and that's for a reason. And I'll get into that a little bit later on in just a second here. So at 6:11 and 30 seconds on Saturday night, Trump is speaking at this rally, puts his hand to his ear after you hear these pop-pop noises, and he was shot in the ear. A bullet pierced his ear. A 5.56 round pierced his ear. Turns out the shooter, Thomas Crooks, was then taken out by a Secret Service sniper. This kid, this 20-year-old from south of Pittsburgh, graduated from high school in 2022, so he's just 2 years out of high school. He worked at a nursing home in the kitchen. He was a cook in a nursing home. That's what he was doing. Turns out that he's a registered Republican. So on the voting rolls in Pennsylvania, he listed himself as a Republican when he registered to vote a couple of years ago. So it's not like he just, registered. He registered a couple of years ago when he turned 18, apparently. So he's 20.
Yeah.
So he's a registered Republican. And then it was pointed out that he did make a $15 donation to a Democrat-aligned organization, some kind of liberal PAC, political action committee. He made a $15 donation when he was 17 years old.
All right.
But so it's just kind of odd. And then he's a registered Republican. There were some reports that said that he was a Trump supporter, which I haven't seen that completely shaken out yet. But what was the motive on this? What was this maniac kid thinking? So a couple of interesting items here. His cell phone was sent to Quantico, Virginia, to the FBI crime lab there. And the last I heard was that his phone was password protected. They were trying to get into the cell phone. I'm sure they immediately asked his parents if they knew his password because, there's been history of law enforcement trying to get into cell phones and Apple not being completely cooperative. I don't know where that stands at this point now. But the shooter's cell phone is at Quantico. I don't know if they've been able to extract any information. They were also looking at all of his other electronic devices. They executed search warrants on his family home where he lived with his parents, apparently, or his dad. His dad bought the AR-15, so it was his dad's rifle that was used, and there were reports that said his dad thought he was just going to the shooting range. So Dad knew he had the rifle, and he was just going to the shooting range, apparently.
All right, son, here's the AR-15. Have a good day at the range.
Yeah, he was going shooting, but not at the range. He was going to shoot something else.
Wow.
Unfreaking believable. So what ultimately is the motive here? The kid at 20, and this is odd. The kid.
He's not a kid.
I know.
He's a
young adult.
Yeah.
He's an adult. He's an adult. He's 20 years old.
The now deceased 20-year-old, Thomas Crooks, had a very limited social media presence. Not a lot of social media. And it was also reported that he was bullied, that he had a hard time in high school. At, I think it's Bethel Park High School.
Yeah.
And even video of his graduation surfaced not long after he was identified, and you could hear him being called up to grab his diploma. Looked normal. Yeah, smiling, grabbed his diploma.
Yeah, took his picture with the principal and walked off the stage.
Now, here's where things get a little squirrely, and this is where I just don't understand things. It was reported that he was acting squirrely and suspicious near the metal detectors to the entrance of the Trump event, and that law enforcement was keeping their eyes on him because he was acting oddly at the magnetometers, airport-style security. So law enforcement was watching him, obviously not watching him close enough. He somehow alerted law enforcement with his behavior that he was not acting normally. Why the hell didn't they put somebody on him and follow him so he didn't have an opportunity to get on top of that building with a rifle and then shoot Trump? Makes no sense whatsoever. We have 3 other people beside Trump that were hit. And unfortunately, one ended in a fatality. A 50-year-old father, a girl dad, 2 daughters, and a wife. Corey Compratore, Comperatore, Compratore, 50-year-old guy, father, husband, was a volunteer fire chief for a time with a local fire department in Pennsylvania. And it's been reported his wife has claimed that he jumped on top of the wife and the daughter to protect them as the shots rang out, and he was hit in the head. So one of those bullets. Have you seen the picture of the bullet apparently captured by a photographer? You can see the bullet was captured whizzing by. Probably a vapor trail. It was very hot and humid. And, a .556 round travels at close to 3,000 feet per second. It's a very fast round. And there's a picture. Hey, Andrew, can you tell me who captured that? Was that a New York Times photographer or was it Reuters? I want to give credit where credit is due.
Doug Mills, Pulitzer Prize-winning photographer Doug Mills.
Yeah, but
I saw that was one of the New York papers.
Yeah, I thought maybe New York Times. See if you can see who he was photographing the event for. But right behind Trump, you can see what appears. New York Times. So it's a New York Times photographer. What's his name again? Doug Mills?
Doug Mills.
What a picture. I mean, talk about a potential Pulitzer Prize-winning photograph. The bullet going by, and that could have been the bullet that struck this 50-year-old firefighter protecting his family. Unfreaking believable.
Well,
he died, and then you had 2 others that were hit. David Dutch, 57, and then James Copenhaver, 74. They were hit. They were rushed to the hospital, and they are in stable condition. Yes, Rox.
As soon as this happened, I would say within a couple hours after, I found something online about this witness who said, "Yeah, I don't get it. There was this guy. He was climbing up the side of the building. He was on the roof for."
Yeah, I'm about to get to all that.
Right. Okay.
So
okay.
hang on. Don't jump ahead. Just hold on to that thought.
Okay.
All right. So we get to the one piece of audio that I decided to pull. Of all the audio, there's one piece that I pulled. And it's this audio right here of the event.
Look, they're all pointing. Yeah, someone's on top of the roof. Look. There he is right there. Right there, see him? He's laying down. See him?
Yeah, he's laying down.
What's happening? Yeah, look. There he is.
Officer, people in our country that shouldn't be here. Criminals. We have criminals. We have drug dealers. We have people that should not be here.
On the roof.
It's much tougher than it happens.
You went right on the roof again.
You hear the guy say, "Officer, the people, this is outside the perimeter, right in front of this building."
Because not everybody got into the event.
People are yelling. He's on the roof. That is the only piece of audio I've pulled. There were eyewitnesses that saw this guy on the roof laying down. You had numerous people that said this is suspicious, and they tried to alert authorities. Then there's a report, and the Associated Press reported this, that a police officer climbed a ladder to get to the top of the building, and the gunman, this Thomas Crooks, aimed the AR-15 at the cop, and the cop quickly went down the ladder. Some reports were that he was climbing and did not have his gun in his hand, could not access the gun, so he was not able to draw and take him out. And he got down the ladder, and, well, we know what happened. You know, should the cop have engaged him immediately? Should the cop, if there's a report of a suspicious person on top of the building,
I mean, if he didn't have access to his weapon,
should the cop have had the gun in his hand?
You're climbing a ladder?
You climb a ladder with one hand, you can do it. I've carried paint cans up a ladder with one hand.
I'm with you. I understand.
If there's someone suspicious on the roof, should the cop have climbed the ladder? Also, this is a colossal Secret Service fail. Total Secret Service fail. What we're hearing, though, is that the Secret Service had delegated, this is according to a report, that the Secret Service had delegated the perimeter to local law enforcement, and hence the cop climbing. But for the life of me, I can't figure out, with those rooftops of those buildings so close to the stage, 130 yards away or so, you know, why weren't those roofs covered by Secret Service? Why weren't there snipers on those roofs? You have to neutralize any line of sight threat. And this is not armchair, Monday morning quarterbacking. This is like standard operating procedure. So how the hell did this colossal failure happen?
Yeah, this is a bad look for the Secret Service.
And should that law enforcement individual have been communicating with others about this? Or we don't know. I guess we don't know if he was or wasn't. Does he still have his job, by the way?
In the couple of seconds from the people seeing the shooter, getting the officer's attention, the bullets going off, what coordination was there? What word was there given from the local police to the Secret Service who were inside the perimeter?
Well, also the local police, are they on the same frequencies as Secret Service? They're not. The Secret Service frequencies, how they communicate among themselves, that's all in digital encrypted frequencies. So I don't know how and if they let local law enforcement in on the Secret Service frequencies during an event like this, but this is clearly a colossal security breakdown and a colossal communications failure. And as far as does the guy still have a job? It's going to take a long time to sort through this. No, but they'll figure out exactly where things failed.
This is months long of investigation.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you can see the snipers for the Secret Service, or were they Secret Service snipers?
Yeah. So
because they had police on their black vests.
Yes, but it's U.S. Secret Service, so it's U.S. Secret Service police.
Okay.
So Secret Service, you have the plainclothes officers, and then you have uniformed Secret Service, like what you see at the White House. Those are uniformed Secret Service police. Then you also have tactical folks with the Secret Service wearing, the bulletproof vests and the, all of the SWAT-like getup. So you've got multiple layers of Secret Service protection. But the reports are that the cop that climbed the ladder, who didn't engage the shooter, and it's like, why didn't he climb with a gun in hand? And the minute he saw this kid with a rifle, you just take him out. Because the shots probably could have been prevented, because the cop was up on the ladder just before this Crooks kid, this maniac, started shooting. Now, reports are that the cop went up, he had the AR-15 of the kid aimed at him, and he quickly went down the ladder. And then allegedly radioed on his frequencies, whether it was local police or sheriff's office. That's when he got on the radio, but did that get to Secret Service enough or fast enough? Apparently not.
Okay, so can I bring up this point about the first report of an individual who was saying, oh, I saw this happening and I saw this taking place, and he said for 2 to 3 minutes prior.
Yeah, this is the eyewitness that gave the interview to the BBC.
Exactly.
There was a BBC camera crew and
That's
a reporter.
the guy I'm referring to.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that guy gave an interview to the BBC, and they said that he saw the gunman move from roof to roof, even multiple buildings, and tried to warn law enforcement.
And then when he said 2 to 3 minutes, if you look in like the comment section of that interview, people were saying, well, when you're under a serious amount of stress, 20 seconds might feel like 2 minutes.
The time vacuum that he was in, the whole thing could have transpired in 15 or 20 seconds.
However, in my head, I was like, well, guess what? Whatever happened, whatever length of time he was up there, it's all going to come out because everybody had their cell phones. We're going to get every angle. We're going to get the length of time, and we certainly have.
Anyway, Secret Service breakdown of colossal, monumental proportions. Massive breakdown. This should have never happened. There should have been snipers on every single roof. Why didn't they have drones in the air? Why did they not have drones in the air to see any potential threats that might be a mile away? Why weren't they flying all over the place with drones? Every single rooftop with line of sight, including where this shooter was perched, should have been designated as an absolute potential threat. Now, local law enforcement apparently responsible for that area. However, the Secret Service is ultimately responsible for what happened at the Trump event. It should have never, ever happened. And politics aside, I don't care if you're a Biden supporter, a Trump supporter, this should have never happened. Whoever the candidate is, this should have never, ever happened. And it's a colossal, massive failure. Then we find out that the maniac had explosives in his car and then explosive material at his house. You're telling me the parents had no idea about this?
Yeah, parents knew nothing?
Yeah, the father said he thought the kid was going to a shooting range. What a colossal failure. This is just a big event. We have to spend time on this. If you notice, folks, we don't do politics on this show. I keep this show engaging. Yeah, we do serious stuff on the show, but we just don't do politics. I did that for 22 years with my afternoon show, and I ended that a year ago. The end of this month, it'll be 1 year that I walked away from my my syndicated afternoon show. And frankly, I was sick of the politics. I was sick of the toxicity out there, and I was tired of it. And I walked away. I walked away from a lot of money doing my syndicated show on 70 radio stations. Because I was just tired of it. And that's why you hear virtually no politics on the MJ Morning Show.
But this is on everybody's mind today.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm
all
saying.
Weekend.
Yeah.
And what a different conversation we'd be having today.
Oh, yeah.
If it were 1 inch over. If the president didn't turn his head a little bit.
Yeah. I've got, look at this pile. I'm holding this up to MJ TV. Look at this pile of stories I printed out. And Trump is now saying that he had turned his head to look at a huge chart, some kind of an economic chart, which was projected on one of the big screens. And Trump turned his head to look at the chart. And if he had not, it would have been a whole different story. Trump would have been dead. Trump would have been killed.
He'd been decapitated by that point.
And who knows? Now, that I don't want to get too graphic. It would not have taken the head off. I know the 5.56 round pretty well.
Okay.
All right. So we'd be dealing with a death of monumental proportions. Who knows what would have happened, if Trump were assassinated. But this was an absolute assassination attempt. And again, you have the witnesses that tried to frantically get law enforcement's attention. Then you had all the conspiracy theories that started up after this event. The conspiracy theories still roll on. I don't even want to get into the conspiracy that, Biden was behind this. And I mean, it's just stop.
Yeah, I don't believe any of that.
Stop with the conspiracy garbage. The politics and the vitriol in this country we're not in a good spot. Even before this event, we're in an awful spot in this country. And I hate to see it. Just a colossal, total failure. There was also a report that this shooter, this Thomas Crooks, tried to get on the rifle team at his high school, but he was so bad it was comical that he was not able to be on the rifle team at his high school.
Thank God. Thank goodness for that one. Okay. I kind of agree with the team.
Yeah, here's a story. The Pennsylvania man who attempted to assassinate President Donald Trump during the rally on Saturday tried out for his high school's rifle team, but he was rejected for being a terrible shot and making off-color jokes. Crooks 20 killed a hero Trump supporter and wounded 2 others, as a New York Post piece. By the way, the New York Post, they named the shooter at 11 o'clock on Saturday night, hours and hours and hours before official confirmation. So they somehow, the New York Post, got some kind of tip before anybody on the shooter's name. And if you look at social media, people were naming the suspect completely erroneously. There were numerous individuals that were pegged as the shooter that had nothing to do with the event whatsoever. That's why you got to be 100% careful with social media.
This was 60 miles from his house.
Yeah. He lived about an hour and change south.
So, when did he scope out the roof line? Did he just come up on this and find it as he pulled up in his car?
I'm guessing that he probably went to Google Earth, Google Maps, and just did a satellite view and found areas adjacent to where the event was being held. That's what I'm guessing.
Did you read, MJ? It was in the New York Post, and I know you read that frequently, and it came out overnight. All of the things that went wrong as far as the Secret Service, as you mentioned, blames the local police.
Yeah.
And then when you talk to the neighbors, the people who lived right where that event was taking place, backing right up to it, within walking distance easily, no one talked to them about securing their area. No due diligence was done in that capacity. Then they show pictures of the fence with like breakage in the fences around it. But that was, as Secret Service says, the responsibility of local law enforcement.
Well,
why wasn't it Secret Service responsibility?
Clearly, ultimately, it's the Secret Service's responsibility. Clearly, they could not count on local law enforcement, but that should have been ascertained. They should have recognized that we have holes with local law enforcement. It sounds like there were just maybe not enough to cover this event, is what it sounds like.
Well, as someone who has had 2 run-ins with Secret Service, I can tell you that they do a very thorough job.
Yeah, why don't you? Why don't you inform everyone of your Secret Service run-ins? And these were all part of MJ Morning Show stunts over the years.
One was an ill-made decision as the president of a Young Republicans Club.
All right, so let's talk about Fester's brush with the Secret Service.
I can tell you they don't play games.
That was MJ Morning Show related. Go ahead.
President Bush was at the Hyatt Hotel.
Yeah, near the airport.
Yeah.
Right off Causeway area.
And
the Courtney Campbell area, right over there. The Hyatt is where President George W. Bush was staying back in the early 2000s.
And this might have been before 9/11. It might have been very early in his presidency because we were thinking, hey, let's just go and see if we can't get an interview with the president. And I think I was walking in the lobby with like a megahorn trying to summons the president. And that didn't go over very well at all.
No, I remember that.
Then the presidential motorcade left, and I didn't know this, but I left the exact same moment as the motorcade.
Yep.
And the Secret Service thought that I was tailing the president. And by the time I got back to the radio station, the Secret Service was already there.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I was interrogated for like an hour and a half about my purposes at this thing and my intentions with the president.
Yep.
You're kidding me.
Yep.
And for years afterwards,
Yeah, he was on a list.
I was on a list.
Fester was on a watch list. Anytime the president would come to Tampa Bay,
They would just give me a call. And they would ask how I was doing and how my feelings were toward the president and how I felt about the country.
all because of a radio bit where I wanted Fester on the phone.
For years.
Yeah.
The entire Bush presidency almost. I got called and I always knew because it was like a no-caller ID and I would answer it and it was like, hello, I'm calling from the United States Secret Service and they went right into it. And I never saw him again, but they knew about me and I guess I fell off the list.
They were on it.
Well, they knew that you were a radio. I mean, I think they realized that you were just a radio show morning stunt buffoon.
Moron. Total idiot. The first incident I had with the
In fact,
Secret
that was your
Service-
title. You were the MJ Morning Show moron.
So the first incident I had was my fault. Was when I met Bob Dole and I posed for a picture of us shaking hands.
Right.
And I shook the hand that didn't move.
Well, because he holds a pen in that hand.
Well, I got jabbed by the pen.
He held a pen.
Well,
You got stabbed with Bob Dole's pen in his bad hand?
Yes, I went to because you reach across and it was his, it's his right hand that got disabled.
Right.
And
During
World War II.
Was it World War II or was it Korea?
I thought it was World War II.
I can't remember.
I think he injured himself in Italy, and
Okay.
we'll
All
get
right.
to Bob
All
Dole's history later. But I shook Bob Dole's dead hand. and
Wrong
this-
hand.
The Secret Service guy next to me gives me an elbow. So I'm there where there's a picture somewhere of me or Bob Dole giving me this death stare of me grabbing his dead hand and then me going,
Did he get stabbed by the pen?
It jabbed. It was a jab. It wasn't a stab. But so I can tell you 2 incidents with the Secret Service. They do not play games. Politics aside, I am grateful President Trump is relatively okay, right? I mean, I saw him coming down the steps of his plane in Milwaukee. I didn't see was there a big bandage on his ear? I didn't see that side of his head.
You know what? I did not see. Now, there's video of him getting off his plane, also getting to New Jersey after the event. And I have not seen any photo yet of his ear after the event. Now, we saw Trump's bloodied ear, obviously, during the event. And man, there are some insane photos that were taken. But I have not seen a new photo of Trump with either a Band-Aid, bandage, or whatever's on his right ear.
Now, if we are going to talk a little political, he was very flamboyant.
Hang on, Andrew, what are you seeing? What do you see out there right now?
I'm seeing photos titled Donald Trump pictured with bandaged ear after assassination attempt at Pennsylvania rally.
Okay.
That is in the Mirror.
Well, is there can you see a picture of his bandaged ear? You have it?
As he's walking down the steps from the plane.
As of when I went to bed last night, I didn't see anything.
You didn't see it.
Yeah.
Hey, Fester, I cannot top those stories. That is intense, close-up interaction with Secret Service. But my husband had a private event at a golf course with Obama when he was in office. A small group of people. Yeah. So it wasn't like anybody was at the golf course except, a handful of people. And he said they had Secret Service agents. Now, he was in office at the time, but they had them everywhere. You had all the plainclothes Secret Service agents, like popping out behind a plant. And then you had, he said, the entire perimeter, it was a golf course, was surrounded with guys, sharpshooters, all the, I don't know what the special term, I use the term black ops off the air, MJ, but you said that's not right. It's
they had their sharpshooters
all their
perimeter
security ready to go, like everywhere.
Which is what you would absolutely expect when the president's out.
Fester's brought up a photo, and you can see there's a picture from distance with a zoom lens of Trump coming down the stairs of his airplane, and you can see what appears to be some kind of white, gauze or something over his ear. It's kind of a grainy, long-distance photo, but nothing. I haven't seen anything up close and clear yet. Just like a big white patch on his right ear.
So does he give a speech Thursday night with a bandage on his ear?
I'm guessing he never thought that he was going to have a pierced ear, but
not like that.
Yeah, unbelievable. Less than an inch, man. A half inch, a quarter of an inch would have been a whole different story, folks. American history would have been changed dramatically. I don't know how this country would have reacted if that were the case. So this crooks got to wait and see what his motive was. He was a registered Republican. Reports that he was bullied extensively in school. So another bully story, apparently. And he was kind of an outcast and very, very quiet in high school. And 2 years out of his high school graduation in Pennsylvania. All right, moving along here on the MJ Morning Show. You know, usually all the crazy crap goes on while I'm on vacation. Now, I'm leaving for a scuba vacation for a week after Friday's show. So we're here all this week. And then after the show on Friday, I'm leaving. Usually, the minute I go on vacation, all hell breaks loose. So is there a turn of the tide here where all hell broke loose the week before my vacation? So is it going to be quiet next week when I'm on vacation? That's the big question.
Who knows, man? This is crazy times.
And then you had the Alec Baldwin situation. And the case was just tossed out in the middle of the trial because of prosecutorial misconduct over evidence. I mean, this is a stunning turn of events.
What did the judge do? Just stand up as that case is a mistrial. This is over. Get out of here. Get out of my courtroom.
Essentially, that's what happened here.
What a black eye for the prosecutor's office.
Oh, they're done. They're seemingly these prosecutors. I'm sure they're about done. But there was an evidentiary issue where evidence was suppressed, and the judge wanted no part of this and dismissed the case to the point where the case cannot be refiled. That's it. It's done. And then you had Alec Baldwin apparently celebrating at his hotel in New Mexico after release, of his charges and the case being dismissed. You know, here you have Alec Baldwin and a big party thrown at his hotel in Santa Fe.
Okay.
And a lot of folks are saying that, that's kind of douchey. You know,
Yeah,
Okay.
tough
Not a good
on
look.
that.
you know, just you don't throw a party.
There's nothing.
No.
Yeah,
You
there's-
call me all the way back to New Mexico for a murder trial for whatever this is?
A manslaughter.
Fine. And I get off. I'm having a little bit of a party.
not
Yeah,
a good look.
tough-
Not a good
I don't
look.
care about a look. Not a good
Yeah.
look is calling me for the trial in the first place.
It's
Listen,
good for him
in
that
Alex's,
he got off, but it's not going to bring that woman back, and he shouldn't be celebrating.
He's not responsible for your feelings.
I don't think it's a good look for him to
Yeah,
be throwing
me neither. Not
a
a good
big
look.
party.
He is not responsible for how you feel about it.
Right,
This is
he
him.
can do what he wants, but
Fine.
we can feel how we want
Let
to.
him have his
and-
party.
Yes.
Good for you, Alec.
This was like a 3-year legal slog that came to an end because of the evidentiary prosecutorial misconduct. Judge tosses this thing out, and then Alec is partying. That's a douchey move.
Have you seen the party?
That is not a good look.
He had a couple of edible arrangements.
Nah, we
A
stop it.
charcuterie board, a punch bowl.
Stop.
Looked like a really
All right,
nice time.
Bad look. Bad
Stop
look.
making crap up.
He had a DJ.
Stop
They
making.
did the electric slide.
Stop.
They had a cornhole.
Boogie, 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 woogie.
I mean, it was a good party.
Stop.
Macarena.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
Macarena for Hilaria.
Oh, I got. They said Macarena. I
No,
thought-
Macarena. Hilaria. Macarena.
Yeah, well, she was dancing too.
I mean, what a crazy turn of events there. One of the special prosecutors, Erlinda Ocampo Johnson, resigned during the hearing. I mean, this could not have gone worse for the prosecution. But Alec Baldwin should not have been celebrating. I'm
He
sorry.
should have been celebrating. This is a.
Oh, and by the way, the TLC camera crews for the new Alec Baldwin upcoming reality show, they were apparently filming the whole thing. They filmed him going to New Mexico. They filmed a lot of the ramp up. So the camera crews for TLC were there, and apparently they're going to incorporate this whole trial situation into the upcoming Alec Baldwin reality show, The Baldwins, which clearly he's doing it because he needs money. There is no other reason why Alec Baldwin would be doing this reality show. He's a notoriously private guy, and he's opening up his whole life to cameras with his fake Spanish wife, Hilaria, and there's 7 kids or whatever that brood is now. Can't even keep track.
All right, I'm looking at a picture of a party. I think I do see an edible arrangement. In the background.
Words, we stop it. There are rumors that he needs money, that he's broke. And that's why he's doing the reality show. And during the trial, they're videoing the whole thing for the reality show. So I'm sure they were there videoing the celebratory party. Alec Baldwin broke down. I got a couple of audio bites, which are very, very interesting from the trial before it was abruptly ended. Listen to this. We had to bleep a couple of things.
The truth of this matter is you don't like Mr. Baldwin very much, do you?
That is absolutely untrue. I actually really appreciate Mr. Baldwin's movies. I really appreciated the acting that he did on Saturday Night Live, and I really appreciate his politics.
You told one of the witnesses who disagreed with you during an interview that you thought Mr. Baldwin was a
I do not recall saying that. I know that that was something that Mr. Baldwin would say on the set of Rust. I don't recall saying that.
Do you deny that under oath?
Without having more information, I can tell you that I do not recall ever saying that. And if I did say it, I invite you to point it out to me.
That is the prosecutor being examined by the defense attorney on the stand. You didn't need to bleep out sucker. You had to bleep out the first word, Andrew, but you could have left sucker.
What? She called him
a bleep sucker.
A sucker?
A bleep sucker. Rhymes with clock.
God.
All right, one more bite.
You called him an arrogant to another
you didn't need to bleep out prick, Andrew.
Andrew's toeing a line here.
Andrew, prick, you could have left that.
Look, Andrew's a conservative one of the bunch.
That's you could have left prick in there as well. Didn't need to bleep that.
You should
have.
You
called him an arrogant to another witness.
To who? To what witness?
I'm asking you, did you call him an arrogant prick during a witness interview?
I don't believe I did. I don't recall.
Do you deny that?
Without knowing what you're talking about? All I can tell you is that I can't respond if I don't know what you're talking about.
And you said also to witnesses that you would teach him a lesson.
I never said to witnesses that I would teach him a lesson. Absolutely not.
Anyway, this is Alex, defense attorney, going after the prosecutor.
That first clip that you played when she's like, I really appreciate his skits on SNL. I appreciate his politics. That's a nice way of saying, I hate this guy. I'm just trying to...
Yeah.
That's really what she means.
She doesn't know this guy. I mean, I appreciate the work that he's done. I mean,
appreciate his code for I do not like. I do not like them.
I appreciate you saying that, Rox.
I appreciate a lot about you.
A whacked out weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We have the Alec Baldwin, the shock dismissal of the charges, and the trial abruptly ended. Then you have the reports. Did you see the video I shot? I shot a video regarding Dr. Ruth dying and Richard Simmons dying. I shot and posted a video on my Instagram like an hour and a half before the Trump situation.
Is this like the worst weekend to die because nobody's going to really talk about it?
Well, Dr. Ruth died in 96. That was a hell of a long life. Then you had Richard Simmons, who died at, 76, and the day after his birthday. And there were reports that Richard Simmons, that he fell the night before, and I don't know if that had anything to do with his death, but then he passed away the next day. And I remember Richard Simmons, very nice guy. Richard Simmons was in our MJ and BJ and then MJ studio on multiple occasions. I was trying to think of how many times. I think it was about 5 that he was in. Yeah. And he was always, MJ! And he would MJ! And he would always
big hug.
Give me exactly.
First thing.
He'd give me a gigantic hug. And he doused himself in cologne. I would smell like Richard Simmons' cologne for 3 weeks after Richard Simmons gave me a bear hug. I could not get Richard Simmons' smell off of me. It was 3 weeks. It's like a skunk. I almost had to bathe in tomato juice. Is that how you get rid of a tomato juice?
That's a good trick.
You want to talk about somebody as a showman who
I got sprayed with Richard Simmons cologne.
As a showman who was 100% committed.
Like Pepe Le Pew.
The entire time.
Yeah.
He never
was on 100%.
broke character.
Yeah. Before he became a recluse, Richard Simmons was on every moment that I had ever dealt with him.
If he was if he was in front of somebody, anybody, I'm watching clips of him that from old shows, old Letterman shows. I saw a clip of him on Whose Line Is It Anyway, and he never ever broke character. And I'm like, oh man, what a talent.
He was a nice guy.
Yeah.
Every time that I had any dealings with Richard Simmons, he was just an uplifting, fun, personable, just excited, happy to be alive guy. And that's why when he became reclusive for whether there were mental or physical issues, it was difficult. Oh, Andrew's giving me the signal to bring up the audio in his producer booth. All right, go ahead. Here we go. Alec Baldwin's defense attorney questioning the prosecutor on Friday. Go ahead, hit it.
You called him an arrogant prick to another witness.
To who? To what witness?
I'm asking you. Did
There we go.
All right.
Uncensored.
I think we could have put that together, Andrew. Thank you.
And then Dr. Ruth dead at 96. No, Andrew, thank you very much. No, I asked Andrew to do it.
I gave a mocking thank you.
No, I asked Andrew to give me the uncensored version.
Okay.
Now, give me the uncensored version of the bleep sucker.
We don't need that.
No, I'm kidding.
We don't need that.
Well, I could have the sucker.
Okay, we don't need any of it. Okay, we got it. We all get the idea.
So Dr. Ruth dead at 96. I had Dr. Ruth. That's why I shot the videos, because I had contact with both of those individuals.
Do we have an ID from Dr. Ruth?
You know what? Somewhere.
Do we have one from Richard Simmons?
Yeah, you know what? I think I had Dr. Ruth cut an ID years ago that said, "Hello, this is Dr. Ruth, and you're listening to the very sexually dysfunctional MJ," or something to that effect. And I have that. It's somewhere on a hard drive. It's not cataloged. I'm still in the process of cataloging like 400,000 audio bytes. It's a process. It's going to take me 2 decades. I'm going to be retired, and I'll finally have my audio archive cataloged. So, and then let's see, Shannon Doherty, 90210. She, had a long ongoing battle with cancer.
Yeah, breast cancer.
And finally, Shannon Doherty dead at 53 years old.
She battled for a long time. I think it was like 2014 that she was diagnosed with breast cancer. Wow. And then she went into remission, and then she came back, and God bless her. Yeah. I saw those last photos of her just walking, shopping, getting groceries with friends, and you can just tell she's struggling.
From TMZ, best known for a starring role in Beverly Hills 90210. She died in Malibu. Her rep, Leslie Sloan, told TMZ, "It's with a heavy heart that I confirm the passing of actress Shannon Doherty. On Saturday, July 13th, she lost her battle with cancer after many years of fighting the disease. The devoted daughter, sister, aunt, and friend was surrounded by her loved ones as well as her dog, Bowie. Family asked for their privacy at this time so they can grieve in peace. In 2015, Shannon Doherty was diagnosed with breast cancer. But she went into remission, and then it returned 2 years later. And at that time, she told Good Morning America it's going to come out in a matter of days or a week that I'm stage 4. So my cancer came back, and that's why I'm here. I don't think I've processed it. It's a bitter pill to swallow in a lot of ways. There's also drama between some of the 90210 folks. I think she got along with some, didn't get along with all. She had, I guess.
She was always known for stirring the pot a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what. And then I read, I believe it was Rose McGowan who did a really nice tribute to her and was like, some people mistook her passion for what she does as causing trouble, as you just referred to, Fester.
I know she on that show Charm, she always had a beef with Alyssa Milano.
Yeah, she did.
And then Alyssa Milano comes out, with condolences. I'm like, I don't. But 53 is way too young. And
rest in peace.
Yeah.
I have no ill will. I have good thoughts of Shannon Doherty, and I wrote off any of the little turmoil or personal issues that she had with some in Hollywood. Oh, and one more thing on the Alec Baldwin matter.
Yes.
And I think I sort of alluded to this, but I really want to say it, that poor family. The family of Helena Hutchins. Now, do I think that Alec Baldwin was anywhere near as culpable as the armorer? I don't. And if I were on that jury, I'd be really questioning whether Alec had responsibility, although the prosecution had maintained that Alec had been previously reckless on the set. But still, it was the armorer that needed to ensure that there was no live bullets on a movie set where they're using prop guns and firing off blanks. That's just pure insanity. Yes, Andrew.
Was he culpable in your eyes as the person in charge, as a producer?
As an executive producer, as an EP, I think there is a level of responsibility. However, you hire an armorer, an expert that ultimately was responsible. And it turns out that was a low-budget movie. And guess what? They got a relatively inexperienced, low-budget armorer. And it would have been a whole different story if you would have spent a little more money and got somebody with a better reputation to be the armorer on that movie set.
She had the name, but not the experience.
Yeah, her father is like a pro's pro at this job, but she wasn't.
Let me run something by you guys and our listeners right now. This is one of these "Am I the bleep hole" stories. Yeah, I love these. These are from Reddit. Reddit has a subreddit, and it's called AITA. Am I the bleep hole? The ass.
Yeah, we got it.
And people roll out a story, something that happened, and the person is asking, am I in the right here? Am I in the wrong? Am I the a-hole here? And I don't believe that all these stories are real. I think that some are, but I think that some people are just exercising their creative writing skills and coming up with some actually very intriguing and interesting scenarios, but I just don't think they're all real. With this, I don't know, but I could see this happening. Check this out. A father and husband wants to know, is he the bleep hole? Why? His stepson, Ben, is 20 years old, lives with the family, and is on summer break from college. Ben's girlfriend is having a tough time at home. There's a really rough patch with Ben's girlfriend. So Ben asks the family, can my girlfriend stay with us for a little bit? The girlfriend moves into the house, already a tight house. It's the husband, it's the wife, it's two other kids, 11 and 9, and then, Ben and the girlfriend now. So it's kind of a tight space. But apparently Ben says to Dad, hey, couple of things. My girlfriend is a vegan, so no meat in the house while she's staying there.
Okay.
I told you this is interesting.
Okay.
And then apparently her parents are alcoholics, so said, please don't have any alcohol in the house.
No booze, no meat. I mean, you just took all the fun out of life.
So am I the bleep hole here? That's what the father wants to know. In his own house, should he have to cave and abide by the son's girlfriend's demands or wishes?
You know what?
While I'm in the house, I'm a vegan, please. No meat consumption while I'm staying here.
Okay.
And my parents are alcoholics, so please refrain from drinking in your own home. I mean, come on.
Okay, so that column is called Am I the Bleep Hole?
Right.
Yes.
The answer is yes, for even having to write this in Am I the Bleep Hole? Like, yes, if you even think you are. You should know you're not. You should know that's your house.
What this tells
it's your
me,
rules.
it tells me more about the way he is as a parent.
Yeah.
That his son would think it's okay to even ask his dad to do those things in the first place.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you're saying the son is not very connected to Dad?
Yeah, Dad let him get away with a little bit too much. You think it's okay to my own house? I'm not going to have meat? I'm not going to have a couple of bottles of booze because of your delinquent girlfriend?
The father says, I don't drink every day. Sometimes there are days where I have nothing to drink. And then some days I have 2 or 3.
Or he has 100. He's passed out on the floor.
He's the adult. He can do what he wants.
It's his house.
I don't think he's passed out on the floor.
He has blood alcohol syndrome just sitting there on his recliner.
Yeah, I'm sorry that the girlfriend leaving problems at her house to live with the boyfriend, the father's son, and the whole family, she has no freaking business. You know what? I'll grab some calls on this. Let's go. Let's fire up some phones here. 800-990-1047. 800-990-1047. I totally take the father's side here. Sir, it's like, Maury Povich. You are not the father. Sir, you are not the bleep hole here, okay? Folks, do you agree? How dare this girl come into the house and then make demands, please don't eat meat and please no alcohol consumption. Tell you what, if they're letting you stay there while you're having turmoil at your own house, shut the bleep up and enjoy the roof over your head.
Sounds like she drove her parents to alcoholism based on her lack of love for barbecues.
Oh, great.
Yes, we weren't alcoholics before, but our daughter just drove us to it.
Do you agree with me or no? Should the family have been, all soft and, of course, we won't consume alcohol. We won't consume meat because you're a vegan. We'll change our whole lifestyle and eating enjoyment for you for the entire freaking summer. All right. If you want to weigh in on this, 800-990-1047. 800-990-1047 is how you get in. Now let's go. I'll start with Donna. Donna in Citrus Springs. Where's Citrus Springs? Do you know? Where is that?
I don't know.
Hey, Donna, welcome to the MJ Morning Show. Where's Citrus Springs?
It's over by Dunellen.
Okay, I know where Dunellen is.
By the Rainbow River?
Yeah, I know where Dunellen is. All right.
Yes, absolutely.
I said, Donna, welcome to the MJ Morning Show. What are your thoughts here?
I think that is not the a-hole. There is no way you can have somebody come in your house and make those demands. It's absolutely ridiculous. They'd both be bounced.
Yeah, I would imagine that most callers are going to agree with you, Donna, and me for that matter. Let's see. Thank you, Donna. Thanks for listening.
Thank you. Have a great day.
All right, Sheila in Largo. Hey, Sheila, you're on the MJ Morning Show. Hi.
Hi. The father is in the right, and they are totally in the wrong, especially if they're not paying any money.
100%. Look at that.
Look at that. She's right.
Two for Dad. Thank you, Sheila. David in Zephyr Hills. David, hi. You're on the MJ Morning Show. Welcome.
Welcome. Good morning, MJ.
Yeah.
And Roxanne and Fester.
Hello.
Hey, so no, I don't think the father is, but I think there's a bigger picture here. The son needs to get rid of that girlfriend because she's going to be a headache.
She's a pain in the ass.
Good point.
Yeah.
I think you're all right.
Maybe maybe she has other talents, sir.
3. Well, it depends what kind of, how much of a vegetarian she is.
I can look past a vegan if, there's other abilities. You want a salad, honey? You got it.
All right. That just opened the lineup. 800-990-1047. 800-990-1047. All right. 3 calls all side with me and the father that he is not the bleep hole. Gary is next in Spring Hill. Gary, MJ Morning Show, welcome.
Morning. Long-time listener.
Thank you.
He is not an a-hole. It's his house.
It's his house.
It's his house, exactly, 100%.
King of the castle.
Thank you, Gary. I appreciate you checking in. Anything else? Gary, anything else?
Nah. You're talking about your restaurant and everything. Where you guys want to eat.
Yeah.
MJ's. There's a New England Cafe on the way up to Citrus. I'm pretty sure it's on 495.
All right, New England Cafe. This is an extension of Where Should MJ Eat. Gary, thank you, buddy.
I have no idea where that is.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Well, that's why we take phone calls.
Right.
Todd in Clearwater. Todd, you're on the MJ Morning Show. Hello.
Hey, MJ, I'm back. Yeah, no, the father needs to kick both of them out.
Yep.
I'm telling you right now, there ain't no girl coming into my house telling me what to do.
Yeah, so far it's unanimous. Todd in Clearwater. Thank you, pal.
Yeah, those women folk, Todd. I tell you what.
Let's grab Karen in Tampa. Karen, MJ Morning Show, you're next. Hi.
Hey, good morning, MJ.
Yep.
I agree with you and the dad. He's not an a-hole. Chick got problems. Maybe that's why there's drama at her house.
Yeah, really. All right, Karen, thank you.
I just feel like you're welcome. If you're living in somebody else's house, you got to live by their rules.
Yeah, you adapt to their rules. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Karen. All right, Andrew, I'm going to clear out the lines here, and then I got to move on. Wendy in Bradenton. Wendy, hi, MJ Morning Show. You're on.
Hi there.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm a vegan and I don't drink, but I don't demand anything at anybody's house. But I'm wondering if it's the son. Is the son asking this or her?
No, I think it's the son via the girlfriend.
He's asking this
Yeah.
on her behalf.
Yeah, the girlfriend clearly said to the son, the boyfriend, can you talk to your parents about curtailing the meat eating and the alcohol while I'm living here? And I would say, hell no, is what I would say. So, Wendy, just out of curiosity, you are a vegan, so you don't do any animal products. So you won't even have like dairy or yogurt?
I mean, occasional dairy, and I'm trying to quit that. But I mean, majority of the time it's fruits and vegetables.
I know, Wendy, how old are you, Wendy?
I'm 51.
All right, have you ever had a really delicious, well-marbled, 30-day, dry-aged ribeye cooked medium rare?
No, because I went meat-free in about age 15.
So you never had a steak when you were 15? You never had a steak prior to that?
Back then it was, the 70s and 80s, meatloaf and, hamburger helper.
Oh, God. All right, thank you, Wendy. Have a great day. All right, last call on this. James on the MJ Morning Show, Meadowbrook. Where's Meadowbrook?
Middlesboro.
Oh, where are you?
Middlesboro.
Hold on, you're from Meadowbrook or Middlesboro?
Middlesboro, Kentucky.
Oh, you're calling from Kentucky. All right, it says Meadowbrook. I don't know where that is. Anyway, James, go ahead from Kentucky. James, go ahead.
Help us out, James.
Yeah, even though it's his house, I think
James, are you at a distillery right now in Kentucky?
Isn't Jim Beam there in Kentucky?
Yeah.
All right, what's up, James? Oh, God.
James forgot our topic.
James, does your employer, do they have a problem with you drinking on the
Even though
job?
it's his house.
Yeah.
They should compromise on what's going on.
Well, it sounds like you're very opposed to the alcohol ban in their house.
James, thank you for calling all the way from Kentucky.
I do appreciate it.
Yes.
Thanks, James.
I don't know how to feel about that last bunch of calls. I'm sorry.
What do you mean?
Yeah,
I mean,
by the way, it's unanimous. Every single call said that the father's not the bleep hole.
Unanimous from an interesting group.
James put the exclamation point on that segment.
Fester, I have a gift for you in this Ziploc baggie.
I love presents.
Fester, can you identify what's in this Ziploc baggie?
Is it rubber bands?
Yes, they are. They're a certain type of rubber band.
Oh, are they broccoli?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
I have brought in a bag of broccoli rubber bands. These are those thick rubber bands that are used by produce companies for the heads of broccoli. And we eat a lot of broccoli. A lot of these have been thrown out but this is the collection of, I don't know, there's got to be, 25 or 30 of these here?
Wow, I did not think I would be given one of your most cherished possessions now, but thank you.
I'm giving Fester a whole bag of these giant rubber bands. And Fester, would you like to discuss the historical nature of these rubber bands?
To Italian people? Or
yeah, I think that I'm going the Italian route. The giant broccoli rubber band. You pick up a head of broccoli, and a lot of times they've got like 2 or 3 stalks that are put together in the plastic package, and there's that big broccoli rubber band.
Very heavy duty band. I can tell you.
What is the history or what is known in certain circles about those rubber bands?
Certainly, both of my grandfathers, all of my uncles, and my father only held cash wrapped in a broccoli rubber band. It was in their wallet. I remember my father told me men don't carry cash in their wallet. They carry cash in their front pocket, and you pull it out, and it has the big broccoli rubber band.
Were any of your family members connected up in New York?
All right.
Or was it just learned behavior from...
So the short answer...
Yes, what is the short answer? When I say, folks, were any of Fester's Italian family members connected, I'm just talking about were any of them part of the mob, the 5 New York crime families?
The short answer is no. But in Brooklyn, my grandfather worked for a butcher house.
Right.
That was totally mob run. And the first day on the job, they took him to the receiving floor and they pull a gun out and they said, anything you see that happens here stays here. That was really the only rule of the place. And then, like 5 years later after working there, my grandfather had to call in sick. He had the flu. He called in. They sent a message. He couldn't come to work. And that day, the apartment door flies open, and one of the bosses comes in to see my sick grandfather to see if he's really sick. And there he is, sick in bed. My grandmother's tending to him.
Yep.
And he gave him a brick of cash and said, "Feel better. Come back when you're ready."
Hey, can I make an observation?
If he wasn't there, if he wasn't there, who the hell knows what he did?
So
when you talk about your grandmother and your grandfather, you really go into your New York accent.
You know, if you get
my
me-
grandfather was sick, and then my grandmother.
Well, if you get me around New Yorkers, if I think I've done a pretty good job of losing my New York accent.
You hide it well,
So,
usually.
Let me just delineate a little further that it was sort of a known thing that mobsters up in New York associated with the 5 big families, Gambino, Genovese, Lucchese, Colombo, and Bonanno. Those are the 5 crime families of the New York Mafia.
Right.
And it was always known that the wise guys, they carried their wads of cash and they were bound by these large produce rubber bands. And even to the point where I read or heard the stories in the past that like undercover like feds that infiltrated some of these mob operations.
Want it to be a little more convincing?
Yeah.
Like have to eat a couple of heads of broccoli?
Yeah, like a Donnie Brasco situation.
Right.
That little things like that can be the tip-off whether you really are a wise guy. Carrying your wad of cash with one of these broccoli rubber bands from the produce department. So, Fester, with that, I'm going to give you my collection of broccoli rubber bands that I've collected for a while. There we go.
I don't know that I need 20 of them, but thank you.
Because I know you carry wads of $100 bills wherever you go.
Maybe not wads, but a couple of them anyway.
Enjoy it. 8:49 at the MJ Morning Show, and this brings to a close 1 hour and 20 minutes.
Oh, these are fresh, too. These are nice. Thank you, MJ. These are real good.
Of nonstop MJ. 1 hour, 20 minutes. Hey, Andrew, heads up over here. I'm gonna do some changing here.
Okay.
Andrew, if you don't mind, do a little bit. I'm gonna do a little swap in
You
here.
know what you're doing here?
I don't know. My whole hey Andrew, can you come in here? My whole screen's all frigged up.
Yeah, because you're touching buttons. You shouldn't. Be touching this stuff.
I got it fixed.
Okay.
Yeah, I got it fixed. All right, so I'm gonna do some lives here that were scheduled for the next set, if you don't mind. If you don't mind. Hey, let's talk about your next move. Let me ask you a question. If you're making a move. You know what that is? Any idea, guys? If I yell 4 and then...
I think I do.
What do you think that is?
I think it's golf related, and I think I know who didn't yell that.
Yeah, well, maybe they did and just didn't work. Who do you think yelled 4?
Taylor's boyfriend.
Yeah, Kelce.
What happened?
Yeah, Travis Kelce. Apparently he was doing some kind of a celebrity golf tournament and smashed some bystander in the head with his golf ball.
That's the way it goes,
Yeah.
man.
You know, I remember a story. My Uncle Arnold, actually my grandmother's brother, Uncle Arnold, he was a dentist. No, I'm sorry, he was a doctor. Uncle Charlie was the dentist. So Uncle Arnold, a great uncle of mine. I remember a story where Uncle Arnold had a friend. They were playing golf, and the friend got hit by a driven golf ball, killed him. Got whacked in their head. Yeah, here in Florida. Yeah, playing golf, just a golf ball was driven and just line drive smacked the guy like right in the temple, and lights out.
Was he a...
That's why I don't play golf. I think that, you know what? I heard that story when I was like 6 or 7 years old. Maybe that's why I have an aversion to golf, that I have no interest at all in golf because of Uncle Charlie's friend that got hit in the temple with a golf ball.
That's all Doug does.
Is hit people in the head?
No, that's all he does is golf. But, I mean, he's a good golfer, so he doesn't hit anyone in the head, but you realize the dangers.
So Dig Dug is a good golfer?
He's a really good golfer, yeah.
Didn't he once try to be professional?
He didn't try to be professional. He was a professional. He was never on the PGA Tour, but he was in the,
He was in the LPGA Tour.
Yeah, he was in the LPGA Tour.
During his transition.
Yeah, so...
He was really, really good.
Travis Kelce was seen comforting a female fan after Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift's boyfriend, smashed her in the head with a golf ball on Saturday.
Here she is. She kind of looks like Taylor.
Yeah.
Katie Griffiths.
Yeah, this was at the 35th annual American Century Championship in Lake Tahoe. And he kept shanking shots into the crowd.
Yeah, he's not a golfer.
No.
I mean, a lot of these guys enjoy golf.
Yeah,
They're not
really.
that good at it.
He shanked the shot right into this woman's head. What'd you say her name was?
Katie Griffiths.
Can you just say it normally?
He has food in his mouth.
I mean, Katie Griffiths.
Oh, gee. Why are you eating in the middle of the show?
You caught me right in the middle of a Reese's peanut butter cup. I thought you were going to talk longer.
Yeah. So she was, apparently she's okay. But listen, when I hear a story like this, I think of Uncle Charlie's golfing pal that got killed with a golf ball.
Yeah, that sucks.
Well, that stuff happens. All right, if you're a Costco shopper, attention Costco shoppers, and apparently this is not just Costco. This is at other warehouse clubs as well. And I read a story about a woman that is pissed, but this happens to be Costco. She says that she was ripped off and she feels tricked by Costco. By the way, did you see that Costco, I didn't get to this last week, they're raising their memberships.
Okay.
Yeah, I think later this year, Costco is jamming up memberships. Like, I have the cheapest Costco membership. First of all, I used to pay like $40 a year. And then I woke up one day and it was like $60 a year for the cheapie membership. And then my membership, when it renews, I just renewed mine back in, I think, May. So when I renew, my $60 membership goes to $65.
Whoa.
Yeah. It's a hefty jump. But here's the deal. This woman is ticked off at Costco. You know when you get those multi-packs? You know, everything at the warehouse clubs are like, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a package.
Yeah, we just bought Pop-Tarts. There's like 48 of them.
Yeah, the giant box. Anyway, this woman is ticked off because she would regularly buy Dove deodorant. So Dove, a stick deodorant, and apparently it came in a 5-pack.
Okay.
So you'd have like a cardboard tray, and you'd have 5 Dove solid stick deodorants lined up in this cardboard package. She buys the Dove deodorant at Costco. She gets it home. It's down to 4. It's the same package, the same size, and where the 5th stick of deodorant should be, they put in like a little cardboard spacer.
Oh.
Yeah. So they reduced it by, 20%. That's sneaky.
chintzy.
Same package size and one less stick of deodorant.
Is that on Dove or is it on Dove or Costco?
I think, Dove, obviously, but Costco, I would think that if Costco's been selling this Dove 5-pack and then suddenly they change it to a 4-pack, then the packaging ought to be reduced. So I think it's kind of cheesy and deceptive that Dove, which is that a Palmolive brand, the Colgate brand, a Procter & Gamble brand? Andrew, can you see who owns Dove for me, please? I think that's deceptive, that they kept the box the same. She opens up the package. It's Unilever. All right, so it's a Unilever product. Yeah, same company that makes Talenti now, which, by the way, Talenti is not the same. Talenti, the gelato, was much better when it was the Texas company that owned it and produced it before they sold it to Unilever, because the flavors were much better. The quality of the product, you have a big company like Unilever, they figure out how to do it cheaper to jack up their profits.
Well,
but here we go. So Dove, owned by Unilever, in the multi-piece package sold at Costco, 5 deodorants, now 4, the same exact package size, with a dummy little cardboard, like a shaped kind of like one of the deodorants to fill up the space where the 5th one used to be. Now, the outside packaging apparently has 4 instead of 5 now, but still, if it's the same size package and then you open it up and there's a dummy cardboard spacer.
Ugh. That's some nasty, tricky shrinkflation if I've ever seen
That
it.
is nasty, tricky shrinkflation. You're 100% right. And, she's all ticked off. Yeah.
How sweaty is this lady?
Here's another commenter that says Sam's Club did the same thing. Well, actually, it's the manufacturer, but
they just carry the product.
Yeah, but I'm sure that these big warehouse clubs, for instance, these types of warehouse club items, you don't find them like in Walmart or in Target. I mean, you find these exclusive warehouse club packages with multi-units. So I wonder if, like Sam's or Costco, they have input into what they want to sell and at what price point. But here's a guy that says that Dove's men deodorant did the same thing to him at Sam's Club. Used to get 5, now there's 4.
See?
Yep.
That's why I swore off deodorant years ago. Just the
But
natural
we can
aroma
tell.
of manhood.
If you only need a certain amount of packaging for 4, then you reduce the package. You don't fool people by keeping the package the same, and there's just one less inside. And, oh, look, here's a nice piece of cardboard for you.
Surprise, it's a little empty box.
Why don't you start rubbing this cardboard underneath your pits? See how that works out for you. All right. 9:11 at the MJ Morning Show exactly here on a Monday. If my voice sounds a little raggedy, it is. It's much better now than it was first thing this morning. You should have heard me in the 6 o'clock hour.
Yeah, he sounded really sexy.
I sounded awful.
But now not so
And I'm still not 100% here. And I'm not sick. Now, let me take my temperature real quick. Michelle's yelling at me because I'm obsessed with temperature taking. But listen, if you're sick, if you have a temperature, it indicates that your body is fighting off a virus or some kind of bacterial infection. So hang on.
What do you got? You taking your temperature? All
I'm
right, let's hear. How long does it take to the beeps? Couple seconds?
7 minutes.
7 minutes?
No, I'm kidding.
Do it during a commercial. Come on, man.
And I don't necessarily have to wait for...
Don't move your tongue. Don't talk. Don't talk. You can't talk. You can't really open your mouth either because then it won't get an accurate reading.
I am that way with my kids. I aim that thermometer at them all the time.
It's taking a long time.
Yeah,
Would you
this
get
is
the
taking
slowest thermometer on the Walgreens shelf? Would you go to the pharmacy? Give me the really slow one? This is taking a really... I could have taken your temperature pretty accurately rectally.
With your finger?
Yeah.
I can just take it out now.
There, it's ready.
Yeah, 98.7. So
that's normal,
yeah,
right?
There you
yeah.
go. It's like one of our sister stations.
Yeah.
Was that the Shark?
Yes, the Shark.
This morning I was 96.9. I was like,
That's a
when I
little
woke up, I was 96. Yeah, but 97 is pretty normal. Usually I run a little bit under. But and Michelle's like yelling at me. She thinks I'm obsessed with taking my temperature. And listen, COVID did that to me. With all the COVID stuff, I didn't want to get COVID. And I became a little ridiculous with taking my temperature because I didn't want to get COVID. And, kind of a whacked out time in our lives. But I'm not sick. My throat does not hurt. I just must have had some kind of a drip on my vocal cords. You know what must have helped? I popped a whole handful of prednisone like Pez, like Skittles.
How many did you take? How many milligrams did you take?
30, 40, 50, I don't know.
It seems...
No, I took 20 milligrams this morning. I took two 10 milligram prednisones, which will reduce the inflammation of my vocal cords.
But
And
you
I
can't
think
take it just once.
No, I'll take the prednisone probably for a couple of days.
Okay.
Yeah, I just have some leftover stuff, and I'm going to take, I jump-started myself with two, but I'm going to take two 10 milligram prednisones twice a day. So one in the morning, one in the afternoon.
It is funny because your voice has gotten slightly better
Yeah,
as the show's gone on, but it definitely has not gotten worse, and you would think the usage of it would make it worse.
Yeah. So if I shut my pie hole, which is kind of tough to do while doing a very busy radio show,
Yeah, it is.
coming off the freaking weekend we just had, if I would have just shut up, I'm sure that I'd recover quicker, but I
Right.
kind of have to talk during the radio show.
Funny how radio shows work.
Yeah. All right, a couple of things here. If you drop your chicken sandwich on the ground, just let it go. Do you know how many accidents occur? You've seen movies where the person drops the cell phone and then they reach over to get it off the floor, and sometimes it's dropped on the passenger side, and then they lose control of the car. They drive off the cliff like Toonces the driving cat.
All right, you're giving more information now. I thought somebody was walking and they dropped their chicken sandwich. Now it's a car scenario.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just saying, sometimes if you drop stuff in your car, just let it go for a second and just wait until you can safely pull over, which should have been the case here. Yeah, this is not a good deal. This is in Vancouver, Washington. And this is a public service. Hey, Roxanne, I heard you. I was heading out early yesterday morning, and I heard you doing the public affairs show.
I haven't done it in a while, so it must be an old one.
You're not doing the public affairs show anymore?
No, I haven't done it
You
for
heard
a while.
Roxanne
on the radio
Occasionally, I'll do like a special. Like if I have one, I'll
Wait a minute,
help
so
the
who's
guy
doing
out
the
who
public affairs show now?
Shriner, and Shriner was also kind enough to fill in for me
on
Friday. So I'm very appreciative.
They
of
ran
that.
an old one then.
Yes.
They ran a
All right.
PSA show from like 2020.
No, I mean I've done it since 2020.
Right.
But
All right, well, anyway,
yeah.
so I think you ought to mark certain stories as fulfilling the public good.
Okay.
For the public file, because this is certainly one of those stories, because I'm preventing potentially an automobile accident, an injury, or fatality here. If you drop a chicken sandwich on the floor of your car while driving, just let it go.
No.
Just wait.
I need more info. What kind of chicken sandwich?
Vancouver, Washington State. Police said a driver reached for a sandwich and crashed into a light pole. The car rolled over. If you go to a fast food restaurant, you grab a burger, a sandwich, and then you drop it while eating it, just make sure you're in a safe spot. This individual reached down, veered off the road, and boom. Right into a light pole. Trying to get food. Vehicle flipped. Police responded to the incident about 10:25 p.m. Luckily, there were minor injuries, but this is an example. You drop your cell, and people drop their cell phones all the time. And, oh, my God, I can't drive the next 2 miles without my cell phone in my hand. I've got to get it right now. I'm going to reach out underneath the gas pedal. I'm going to completely take my eyes off the road while I find my cell phone. Let it go for a few minutes. This has been a public service message of the MJ Morning Show. Yes, Andrew.
After he flipped over, was he more able to reach the sandwich?
The sandwich fell right into his hands,
That would
right
be-
into his lap. Yeah.
That's very convenient.
All right, you want to hear about convenient?
Where's the beef?
Right here.
That's the old Wendy's lady?
If I play those two sounds, put the story together for me. Roxanne or Fester, if I play
Where's the beef?
Somebody wanting to get a burger?
Actually, hang on a minute.
Okay.
Let me give you another audio daily double clue. I'm going to enhance it. Here we go. And
Where's the beef?
Did somebody run into a Wendy's?
come on, put it together. I've given you all the clues you need. Again, one more time.
Where's the beef?
Okay, that's a big truck, right?
Yeah, a semi-truck hits...
Somebody trying to turn into a Wendy's?
And where's the beef is a line from the old Wendy's commercial.
Yep, Clara Peller was her name. Clara Peller.
Yeah, okay, so the old lady from the 80s, where's the beef? Under the pickle.
Wendy's and
the semi-truck.
Yep.
They meet.
Come on, put the story together. Come on.
A semi-truck crashes into a Wendy's.
Yes.
Oh my God, I said that like 40
But wait a
seconds
minute,
ago.
there's a major element though. I didn't give you the green light because you missed it.
There are dead bodies in the back of the truck because the Clara Beef Patterson's dead.
No.
What?
A tractor trailer hauling 46,000 pounds of beef crashed into Wendy's.
I didn't know that the Where's the Beef was a double entendre.
Okay. Yeah.
I didn't know.
Beef's here. Where's the beef?
Where's the beef?
Right here.
I would have needed where's the beef, then the semi-truck, then a moo, then the
Oh, will you
crash.
stop
That's
it?
how I would have put it
Yeah,
together.
yeah, me too. Me
Yeah,
too.
I needed one more element.
That's the order.
What a
All right, do we
schlock
have a-
operation we have
Do
here.
we have a cow moo?
We need a moo.
Andrew, give me a moo. Put a moo on page 14 for me, would you please? We must have a cow moo.
Where's the beef is Wendy's. Then there's obviously the semi-truck. Then the moo would indicate what the semi-truck was hauling.
But
then the crash.
A truck carrying beef. I mean, how perfect is that to crash into a Wendy's?
It's really convenient for the delivery schedule.
This happened, I guess, in Pennsylvania. A lot of Pennsylvania in the news this weekend.
Oh.
Yeah. All right, hang on a minute. So, Fessy, you're telling me...
Where's the beef?
A truck hauling beef plowed into a Wendy's. See? Semi-truck hauling beef just ran right into the front of the place. See, that puts the story together.
Making me cough.
There you go.
All right. Anyway, very convenient. Big tractor trailer smashes into a Wendy's and it's hauling beef.
It wasn't hauling beef
No,
for Wendy's,
it was
it?
not. It was other beef.
What, was it going to the Burger King next door or something?
That's funny. Yeah. Now, I don't know where the beef was headed, but it was not the Wendy's beef.
Yeah, Wendy's says always fresh, never frozen. So
That's what I hear. All right, when we get back, if you have a car seat in your car for a child, I have a warning coming up. A car seat. Roxanne, you still have your kids in car seats, right?
Oh, yeah. Not the big girl is in a booster seat.
Yeah, so she's at the age and weight.
Mhm.
It's really weight driven.
Yeah.
Weight and height, right?
Yeah, yep.
All right, so she's
Big
in a
girl.
booster and the younger kid's still in a car seat.
Yes.
All right. You doing Britex or which brand do you guys have?
I'm not a brand person. I don't remember.
What, you didn't do research to find out what a
I
safe...
did, but that was like, I don't know, 4 years ago.
Yeah, but
when
you're also supposed to change your car seats out. You know,
Are you the car seat police
there's
or
a-
what?
There's a shelf life, I'm telling you. All right, hang on.
I think
so
I'm good. Thanks.
When we get back, there is a car seat warning. We'll get to that in just a bit. Also, the old switcheroo. Yep, the old switcheroo trick. Yep, that and a whole lot more next on the MJ Morning Show here on Q105. Stand by. Relaxing rejoiner music. Yeah, little, Red Hot Chili Peppers as my rejoiner music here on the MJ Morning Show on Q105. All right, final chunk of the MJ Morning Show. With my voice, I'd just end things right now, but I can't shortchange the audience. No, I can't. All right, if you have a car seat. Now, Roxanne, I think your kids are past this point. You know, when the kids were little, did you have the car seats for like the infants and like the 1-year-old kid in the car seat
Yeah, rear facing.
where you had like the toys to preoccupy themselves?
Yes.
You know, the little dangling toys. Yeah, we had the same thing. You know, when they were really small and you have them in the car seat, you put little distractors that they can play with. Well, guess what? One of these distractors lit a car on fire. Yeah.
How? Was it a lighter?
Think about it. What item on a car seat could light the car seat on fire? Fire, fire, fire. Think about it.
Is there a mirror?
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Look at that.
On a hot day.
Yeah, the sun beating precisely on a mirror on one of those car seat toys lit the freaking car seat on fire as the sun's light reflected off of the mirror and got concentrated onto the fabric of the car seat.
Wow.
And just boom. Yeah, how about that? Yeah, Emily Perna, married, mother of 2, warning other parents about the hot sun and baby mirrors and car seats. She said she was unloading her child, Luca. My name is Luca.
Where do you live?
I live on the 2nd floor.
Oh.
Isn't that a story about wasn't she like beaten up by her boyfriend? Isn't that like a domestic violence story?
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't heard that song in a long time.
No.
My name is Luca. Hey,
Bring
Andrew, bring up Luca. I don't think that's in regular rotation.
Suzanne Vega?
Yeah, Suzanne Vega. I don't think that song tests very well.
1987.
Yeah. I mean, technically that would fit because this is WRBQ HD1 Tampa, Beasley Media Group station.
80s, 90s, and more.
Yeah, with another hour of Tampa Bay's hits of the 80s, 90s, and more. And Luca would certainly be 80s, but again, I don't think it's in our regular library. But this mother was taking Luca out of the car seat in West Virginia. I guess she was headed to Bible study. Yeah. This is Luca. I haven't heard this in a long time. Yeah. This is actually a big song, I believe. Can't remember when she starts singing, though. Suzanne Vega. My name is Luca on Q105. Close. Yeah. I live on the 2nd floor. Yeah. Yeah, right there. If you hear something late at night, like the boyfriend throwing her into furniture or something.
It's about child abuse.
Oh, there you go.
It's not about domestic violence, spousal abuse.
Song about child abuse.
Luke is a child.
Oh, that's even
if
worse.
If you hear something happening, I'm getting my ass kicked by my old man.
Anyway, this woman's kid's name is Luca.
No wonder we don't play it.
This happened in West Virginia, and the sun was reflecting off the infant car seat mirror, and the car seat starts smoking.
My name is Luca.
Listen,
my seat's on fire now.
That could burn your car to the ground.
Mommy, get me out of here.
Yeah, I'm going to burn to a crisp. No, but seriously.
You don't think about that, but that.
Well, guess what? There have been house fires with like mirrors and prisms.
Right? Like
there
a
have been
chandelier or something?
Yeah, there have been stories. Fester, if you go to the Googles right now and you type in house fire caused by prism, there are stories out there where sun comes in a window, it hits a prism, and the sunlight then burns like the couch, and the couch catches on fire.
All right. So this is, I think.
Yeah, look at this. Glass prism causes Norwich house fire after reflecting sun.
This is from the UK, but wow.
I thought it was Norwich, Connecticut or something. No, that's UK. But I know that there are stories in the United States. In the last couple of years, I know I've seen it. So here you have this innocent little crystal in your home, and if the sun comes in at the right angle, man, you could be in for a big giant toast fest at your house. Just a little heads up.
That's why I have magnifying glasses hanging from my chandelier.
Yeah.
To burn the whole
Yeah,
place.
you were probably the kid with the magnifying glass and the ants on the sidewalk when you were a kid.
Thousands of ants.
Jeez, just
Thousands
stop
of
it.
ants
Stop.
met their
That's,
demise
that's awful.
by the hands of me.
All right, the old switcheroo. Ooh, the cops are totally up to speed. The cops look for the old switcheroo. You know what the old switcheroo is? Where you try to switch drivers without the police officer pulling you over, noticing. It's kind of tough to do.
They usually see that.
Yeah, they do.
With their lights. And
Yeah, see, a lot of times you have someone driving, and then it turns out they have a suspended license. Cop pulls them over for some kind of infraction or whatever. Expired tag, a California rolling stop or so, whatever. No turn signal, erratic driving. And then the driver says, oh, crap, man. I'm a habitual, driver with no license. Yeah, I'm a habitually suspended license person. And then they try to sneakily shift and switch. Yeah, the cops are on to you. I don't think, has anyone ever gotten away with the old switcheroo?
It seems so hard. The way
Now, if the police are not on the scene, for instance, if one of the drivers is drunk and driving and there's an accident, before the cops get on the scene, sometimes folks will try to do the switcheroo and then have the sober individual take the hit. That has totally happened in the past. And there have been cases where the cops don't get on the scene and an eyewitness says, to the cops, hey, they switched out. They switched.
The old switcherooski officer.
Yeah.
Well, here's a switcheroo story here. Two drivers, both with suspended licenses, wound up in jail after switching seats moments before a traffic stop. Yeah, deputy here in Florida, this is up in the Villages, up in Bushnell, two drivers, suspended driver's licenses. They're pulled over. The deputy ran the license plate of a gray Ford F-150 last Thursday about 9:30 at night and discovered the vehicle's registered owner, 31-year-old Brittany Ann Nothington of Bushnell, has a suspended driver's license, according to the arrest report up in Sumter County, the Sumter County Sheriff's Office. Yeah, Northington was arrested back in April on a charge of driving under the influence. Now, moments before the traffic stop, which occurred at a Love's Travel stop in Bushnell, the deputy saw Northington switching seats with the passenger, later identified as 31-year-old Christopher Austin Yates. He's from Inverness. Yeah, the deputy found that Yates's license had been suspended for delinquent child support. They were both arrested. So I guess she was begging, hey, please, switch, that his infraction for driving would be less than hers because of her continued suspension because of drunk driving and other problems. So, listen, the power of female suggestion. So he takes the bait, he switches, cop saw it. It doesn't work, folks. No. The old switcheroo. You think you're going to pull one over on the deputies with the old switcheroo.
They cover that at the academy.
Yeah, and they have good astute powers of observation.
Any cops listening right now that would like to tell us a good switcheroo story? Any police officers, either on duty, currently on the force somewhere, but off duty right now, or maybe retired. If you want to call in and remain anonymous, that's fine. But if you're a cop and you've got a good driver switcheroo story, 800-990-1047. 800-990-1047 is how you get on. If you're a cop and you watch somebody do an old switcheroo, yeah, they thought they were going to outsmart you. Yeah, it doesn't work very often. All right, 800-990-1047. I see Andrew screening some calls. So if you're a cop on duty or off duty or retired and you've got a driver switcheroo story, love to hear it. 800-990-1047. 800-990-1047. All right, give me line 5. All right, Andrew, screen the others. Let me grab Robert. Oh, Robert tried the switcheroo.
Oh, no.
Oh, I'll take these as well. Oh, this is great.
This is a good one.
All right, Robert and Trinity, you tried the switcheroo?
Yeah, I borrowed a friend's van to move my apartment.
Yep.
And so I didn't have my wallet.
Yep.
And a policeman pulled us over, and we did the switcheroo, and I got into the passenger seat. And the policeman was really, really cool. He walked up, and my friend rolled down the driver's window, and he looked at me, and he goes, "It must be damn hard to drive from over there."
Ha! So, yeah, and again, why did he get pulled over? What was the probable cause for the stop?
It had a taillight out.
Ah.
Yeah, and then he made us. He gave me a ticket for it, and he said for the other guy to drive home. But this police officer had a really good. I mean, we weren't going to fool him, but he was nice to us.
And why again? Why did you do the switch?
Because I was moving my stuff.
Oh,
I had my wallet in my.
Oh, right. I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. All right, so you didn't have but they can. It's better just to admit that, hey, you're a licensed driver. I just don't have my license with me because I'm moving. You know, he could run you on the computer and verify that you have a valid license. So you shouldn't have done the switcheroo.
I know. We were scared teenagers and we panicked.
Gotcha. All right, Robert. Thank you, buddy.
Hey, love the show. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you calling in. All right, Don in Newport Richie. Look, we're not getting cops. We're getting folks to try the switcheroo. Yeah. Let me grab Don. Hey, Don, you're on the MJ Morning Show. Go ahead.
How you doing, MJ?
Doing well.
All right. So I was involved in the switcheroo. It's back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Me and a buddy were driving. It was his truck. It was a 94 Ford F-150.
Yeah.
We're coming back into town. We're doing about 60, 65 mile an hour. The town cop passes us. Well, he knew whose truck it was and knew he had a suspended license. And my buddy's like, "Oh, man, the cop's getting ready to turn around." He's like, "We got to switch seats." Mind you, we're doing 60 mile an hour right now. And we switched seats while we were driving. Cop got behind us, pulled us over, looks at me and goes, "You weren't driving a minute ago." I looked at the officer and said, "Yeah, I've always been driving." He's like, "Let me see your driver's license registration." Gave him all that, and he comes back clear, and he goes, "All right, just don't let me catch him driving."
Wow. So, the switcheroo worked.
Yeah, worked great.
Oh, man. And how'd you perform the switcheroo? Did you one grab the wheel while you just went under the other?
So he grabbed the wheel.
Yep.
He jumped up on the seat, grabbed the wheel. So I slid over. I grabbed the wheel, and he jumped over me, and we took off. We only went down to probably like 45 mile an hour in that whole process.
And why did your friend have a suspended license?
Well, he wasn't the best driver.
Gotcha. All right. Thank you, Don. Appreciate it.
I got a few of those.
So look, I got drivers with doing the old switcheroo, but
they got away with it.
Yeah, listen, that's probably just as good as getting cops to call in that witness the switcheroo. But you're generally not going to get away with that. What else do we have before we get out of here?
Oh, you didn't get to something. I don't know if you have time now, though.
What is that?
Long legs review.
Yeah, you know what? I actually have that on my list right here. Yep. Yeah, Michelle and I we actually saw something else that we had on our list this weekend that we binged over the weekend. So on Friday, we went to see Longlegs. As I said on Friday's show, Michelle and I were going to go to the AMC Veterans. It was an 11 a.m. showing of Longlegs, and the theater was virtually empty. There was almost nobody in the theater. Maybe, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 10, 12 people in the whole theater.
All right.
And Michelle and I went to the 11 a.m. Long Legs with Nicolas Cage. I don't want to give too much away. I enjoyed it. I thought Long Legs was great. Is there a lot of hype on the movie? Yes. Is the hype a little more than what is delivered? Yes. Do I recommend the movie? Yes. Did I enjoy the movie? Yes. Was it well done? Yes. Was there an unexpected twist in the movie that has me scratching my head and asking a bunch of questions? Yes. But all in all, I give the movie, out of 4 stars, I give it 3.
And a lot of yeses.
Yeah. I do recommend Long Legs. Very creepy movie, a different kind of feel. It tried to be Silence of the Lambsy. It did not accomplish matching or exceeding the Silence of the Lambs. And there were clearly some elements that were borrowed from the Silence of the Lambs. I don't want to give too much away. Again, I recommend Long Legs. I enjoyed it. Chloe then went to see it with her boyfriend, Chet.
Oh, wow.
Over the weekend.
Sounds like a good makeout movie.
Chloe liked it. Chet did not. Apparently, Chet doesn't like scary movies.
Oh, so he wasn't going to like that either way.
Chet's a wuss, apparently. Doesn't like a scary movie. But Chloe liked it. So as far as my recommendation, I recommend Long Legs. A different kind of movie. Elements of the Silence of the Lambs. Kind of a weird twist, which, is kind of a little bit of a loop, which, I don't know if I really like the twist. I think maybe I would have liked a different direction, but I still recommend Long Legs. So,
well, why don't you go send your son to film school? You make your own horror movie.
I've got a bunch of movie ideas. So, listen, it's not out of the question that Julian and I, when I shake this radio gig, which could be sooner rather than later, maybe I'm going to get into the movie business. Let Julian graduate from NYU Film, and I have a whole bunch of movie ideas. I have a list of movie concepts, and I probably need to pick one and start writing a screenplay for it.
Do you know how to write a screenplay?
I'm sorry?
I said, do you know how to write a screenplay?
Listen, I can write a story, and then it can be adapted to a screenplay.
Yeah, it's very technical. So I have a ton of books on that I can give you.
Okay, that's right, because you're an aspiring screenplay writer?
No, not screenplay. I have written a screenplay before, but I mean, I'm not doing that right now.
Okay. So, if you want to share some of the books with me. But, maybe I'll team up with Julian.
Yeah.
When the radio days are over.
The 3 of you can have a screenplay.
And, with the condition of radio these days, my radio days could be over at any minute.
Like in 6 minutes.
It could be like over right now. I mean, I could be called into the general manager's office right now. And this could be the last you've ever heard of the MJ Morning Show. So with that, will we be back tomorrow? I don't know. Honestly, the radio biz these days, I don't know.
Hey, that's what we said on Thursday.
This could be our last damn show.
That's what we said on Thursday. I was like, will you be here tomorrow, Friday? And then I wasn't here on Friday.
We got to roll. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Hopefully my voice is better. Yeah, it's been a little rough for me today, but my voice did get better during the course of the program. I have a lot we didn't get to, so we'll dive into some of that tomorrow. And I think that's about it. Fester, anything before we get out of here?
That is it.
All right. Nothing you need to add to the program?
Nothing at all.
All right, Roxanne, anything for you?
No, we got into the Long Legs. That was on my list.
Yep. Oh, I mentioned that there was something else we binged. I really liked it. We watched Beef, finally. Have you watched Beef?
I want to.
Yeah, so you're aware of it, right?
Yes.
It's a limited series, 10 episodes. Came out last year in 2023. It's on Netflix.
Like a road rage story.
Yeah, it's a road rage story. It's called Beef. And it was great.
I saw the trailer. I thought it was about hamburgers.
Oh, man. The safe room door scene. Oh, my God. All right, so I recommend Beef. Michelle and I, we binged it on Saturday and Sunday. Actually, Friday night, Saturday, Sunday. We binged it and finished it last night. All 10 episodes. So I recommend that as well. A little late to the game, but there's just so much out there on the different streaming services. You just can't get to it all. So we're kind of just ticking stuff off that's been on some of the stuff's been on the list for like 5-8 years that we haven't gotten to yet. All right, we'll see you back here tomorrow on the MJ Morning Show, 9:47 here on Q105, 104.7 FM. Have a fantastic day, ladies and gentlemen. Say a prayer for my voice that I'm back to normal tomorrow, and let's be careful out there.